they would take these guys' shoelaces, and like they were segregated on the second story balcony, and the drill sergeants would get us in formation and point to the kids that were suicidal and be like, you see those fucking pussies up there? You do not want to end up like them. The point of it is to establish that that's the culture that we're ingrained with from day one in the military, right? Is like, you have mental health problems, you fucking don't say shit, or you're going to end up something like that, right? Like, that's the consequence of admitting you have some mental health problems. So that's the real purpose behind it, is just to emphasize the cultural, where that the culture starts from day one in the military, you know? And that's why so many dudes struggle in silence and have such a problem speaking up. And that's what really like emphasizes these stigmas. I was sitting in the Black Hawk course, just learning about the engine, you know, another day. And all of a sudden I just got punched in the face with this suicidal thought. It was just, hey, you could drive your car into a telephone pole on the way home from work. And it was more than a thought. It was like, I literally like saw it. Reputation. I was terrified of what people would think of me. And you guys know how reputation is. Like, I use the line in the book, like, reputation is currency in the military.
Yeah,
you know?
100%.
And it's fragile.
This is Alone and Unafraid. This episode is brought to you by Polestar Coffee.
God damn, Jimmy. This some serious gourmet shit. Me and Vincent would have been satisfied with some freeze-dried Taster's Choice, right? And he springs this serious gourmet shit on us. What flavor is this?
Knock it off, Julie.
What?
I don't need you to tell me how fucking good my coffee is, okay? I'm the one who buys it. I know how good it is. When Bonnie goes shopping, she buys shit. I buy the gourmet expensive stuff because when I drink it, I want to taste it.
PolestarCoffee.com. Head over to PolestarCoffee.com, grab a bag, use offer code ALONE at checkout, and taste the difference. And the crazy thing is, that's what the Air Force was doing the whole time.
No shit.
The whole time.
Oh, yeah, man.
And they're
flying
going
to get tax-free every month, you know, for a couple hours and then bounce.
And then you talk to them, they're like, whoa, you don't know how hard it is to do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, bro.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I do.
yeah, pretty sure. Pretty sure I know what hard is. I was in the Army.
Yeah.
My favorite is the Raven team guy. You guys seen the Raven team, dude?
I went to Airborne with a Raven, dude. And on top of that, when he got promoted at Airborne school, the fucking like commander of whomever came down and pinned him like in the middle of Airborne. I was like, man, your commanders care about you. They traveled to come see you to promote you.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a typical Air Force thing. Yeah, exactly. Right. Or at least he feels like it.
Yeah, that was my first introduction to the Air Force was in Airborne school when I was a PFC. And I was in like a test Airborne school where we had to run. We had rucks and combat equipment on all 3 weeks.
Hard Airborne school?
Yeah, it was hard when I went through. I don't think they adopted what we did, you know, because pretty badass.
Too hard. Everybody fell out except for Thad.
Yeah. Exactly. But we had those medium, you know, the medium Alice packs.
Yeah, perfect one.
Back in the day, like not the crazy big one, but the medium sized one. We had those, and we had all of our jumps were combat equipment. And like the first 2 were not combat equipment. The last 3 were combat equipment. And I remember waddling up on the C-141. That's how long ago that was. Ew. And there was a dude in a flight suit and like the fighter pilot helmet, you know, and like a air crew kind of parachute, not our like stupid pack tray parachute.
Yeah.
You know, like what do you call those? Like a free fall parachute.
Yep.
And I was like, I could have done that.
That's an option.
I'm an idiot.
He gets paid the same amount as me, except probably more.
Yeah. Treated better.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gets his own hotel room when he travels.
Yeah, no shit. I did, I'll make this short, but when we were doing our combat load jump, I waddled up to the door with the shit. And as I turned to get in the doorway, I fucking tripped. So I like handed off my thing my static line to the jump master, and I fell out of the C-17, and I hit the side of the C-17, and I rolled down the side of this thing like fucking tumbling. And of course, my parachute rips open, and I go to like put my head up, but I can't because it's all fucking corkscrewed. And so my head's like screwed down to my chest, and I was like, "Fuck, dude, this sucks." And so I remember when they said the bicycle kick thing. So I started kicking my little feet as a bike, and I was like, "Oh, I'm spinning! Like this fucking works! Like fantastic! I won't die today." And as soon as my parachute snaps open, I look up. I'm like, "All right, cool." And then I fucking hit the ground,
like a bag of rocks.
Yeah, dude, it was pretty cool.
Well,
Anyway.
What's up, Nick? Welcome.
What's up, man?
Nick? You have the unique pleasure of being the third repeat guest on our show. So
Basically,
I know I've already told my whole story though, so I don't know what we're going to talk about.
I got some good ones.
Now we're going to get to the real shit.
Yeah. This is the behind the scenes.
Exactly.
But
yeah, man, I'm pumped.
Yeah, Tyler's back from your foray. Is that a word? Is that the right word?
Foray. I think those are two different things.
I think a foray is like like an adventure,
and a soiree is like a dance,
like a party,
like a fancy
right?
dance.
Like it's a party.
Yeah,
soiree.
Like the French do.
I feel like you would have to wear like a seersucker suit to go to a soiree.
I don't know what that means, but I'm into it.
Those are those. It's like a linen suit that has like blue pinstripes. My granddad used to wear them. You only wear it during the summertime. Okay. And he would wear they're like the white and blue stripe. Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. That, like with the the hats, like straight brim kind of,
Okay.
Yeah, see? Like
the farmer. Yeah, the farmer outfit.
Yeah. But like a suit. It's like
a Sunday's finest for the farmer.
Oh, okay. I wasn't thinking that.
Yeah.
Seersucker, huh?
Clearly, you guys are not refined, okay?
No, there's one thing I'm not. It's refined.
Yeah. But so you're back from Europe. How was that?
I like it there quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's always interesting to talk to people not in the States about the States, or like to see the States from the outside, or watch news in a foreign country about America. And you're just kind of like, it's a little bit different of a perspective, right? But no, I was talking to a dude on the balcony across from me, and he's from England. And he's like, "Oh man, I love America." And I was like, "Oh really?" And he's like, "Yeah, what are you doing here?" I was like, it's nice to get a break every now and then and kind of get out of all the chaos and bullshit that's going on." And he's like, "Really?" He's like, "Man, I love it there." And he just went down this list of the reasons why he loves the United States. And I'm like, okay, I guess that all checks out.
Sign that guy up.
And he was like, "Oh, I love your guys' history." And I was like, "Compared to European history?"
Yeah, it's only not that long, bro.
Yeah, he's like,
"Do you like the part where we kicked your ass, or like what?"
Yeah, he's submissive already.
Yeah, he's like, "Man, whatever you got to do is great. Fantastic."
Did you see that thing where the London mayor is making every business sign a diversity and inclusionary thing that they have to hire? I'm probably totally blowing it out of proportion, but I guess he made a thing that every business in the city of London has to abide by. And the king pulled out some 300-year-old thing from their like Magna Carta or whatever their version of the Constitution that allows the king to challenge a municipality mayor with a rule, because
to a duel.
That would be cool, but
like
for a rule, yeah. Anyways, I thought it was interesting. I'm like,
so they didn't learn anything from our mistakes, clearly.
Yeah, like like in England, in the UK, you can get thrown in jail for writing shit on Facebook.
Yeah,
like dudes went to jail over like talking shit on, like a typical Tuesday in America. Dudes are in jail, and there is freedom of speech does not exist there.
That's crazy.
I don't think people understand like really what that means, or can't comprehend. Like, oh no, they're probably blowing that out of proportion. It's like, well, you really can't say whatever you want in most places.
Yeah, I'm like,
and then we use it as like a crutch, like I can fucking say whatever I want.
Yeah. Especially if it's not true.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm all over the place here. I'm black on
what
Zins.
are you doing?
I can't.
You're back on Zins?
No, I'm black on Zins.
Oh God, are you freaking out right
Oh
now?
no, dude.
Yeah. I'm totally
He's
out.
tweaking. Oh no.
He hit me up
Anyways.
after his
Gotta
first
send
try.
the kid to the store.
Tyler got me into Zins, and it was a fucking terrible
Yeah.
thing to do.
I use these Rogues.
Oh, are
Same-
those
same
good?
shit. I like them better because they're thicker, so it's more
Oh,
like
so-
real dip.
Velo or whatever is thicker, but the flavor doesn't last very long. Velos last like 30 minutes and they're done.
Okay.
Which, according to my wife, you're not supposed to keep it on longer than 30 minutes.
That's what
What does she
that's what the
know?
can says, I think.
Oh, well,
think I read
Zins
it
will
one
last
time.
like an hour.
Yep.
Like the brand name Zin.
Dude, so we started buying the European ones, right? And having them sent over. And they run anywhere like you can't find a 3 milligram. You can't find anything as low as a 6 milligram. They all start at like 9
Yeah.
and they work their way up. And then we found this other one called Pablo that's a 50.
Holy shit.
Damn.
It's pretty intense.
I was down in Miami
you.
last week flying for that Seal Future Foundation with my boy
Bringing in
John.
drugs from Venezuela.
Yeah, doing the drug run. And my buddy John, shout out to John. He's probably
Hi, John.
listening. He was in 3rd Battalion. He pulls out, I put a Zen in, and I look over and he pulls out a 15 milligram something.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, bro. And he was like, yeah, dude, this will make you go into outer space. And
Yep.
Damn.
have you done
I
15s?
get you some Pablos.
Some Pablos?
Yeah.
15s, that's hardcore, man.
That is hardcore. I do the 3 milligrams, but I put like 3 in at a time, so it's 9
Yeah.
technically.
Yeah, I only
Yeah.
do 3 milligrams.
Yeah.
I'll do
healthier,
double
it's better for you.
3s or a 6,
Yeah.
you know.
Sometimes
I feel like double
up on the
3s is really like a
6s.
5.
Right.
Yeah. I kind of have. Yeah, I'll go anywhere. Sometimes, like, I get some 12s and 15s. I'll pop them in. A Pablo once in a while. There's a bunch of crazy shit out there. I guess, like, Sweden is, like, the
Yeah,
king of
they're-
this shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they've
didn't
had
they
it for,
start it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like snus and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's all these different brands out there. I was like, fuck it. Let me get this, like, challenge pack of, 30 different brands.
I
Some are
did
pretty
a exchange with the Swedish army back in like 99 in Bosnia. Like I rode around in their Swedish mechanized infantry. They're called SISUs, like 6-wheel or 8-wheel armored personnel carriers. And all those dudes, the Swedes, they all dipped, but they dipped in their upper lip, the top lip, like the old
You're
ladies
supposed to
used
put
to
it up
do
there.
snuff, back in the
Yeah.
day.
I think that is how you're supposed to do it. Just
Yeah.
feels weird.
Yeah.
It's like finer than fine cut dip.
Place an upper lip
Yeah.
and enjoy up to
Yeah.
an hour.
I sometimes put Zins in
okay.
my
So
lower
it's up to
lip.
an hour.
Sometimes I put them in. If I'm doing 2, I do an upper decker. I got one up here and I got one
Yeah.
one down low.
Nice.
Yeah,
I put them in my foreskin.
yeah. Put them in my
Mass
butthole.
Effect.
So if
Dude, I
you're just
remember in high
joining us,
school-
we're talking about putting Zins on your business.
I remember in high school, dudes on like the football team and stuff would put like dip literally like in between their toes and shit.
Yeah, I've
Just,
heard
like
of that.
stupid shit you do. Yeah. Because I guess it
Yeah.
works
Oh.
still.
Yeah. What is that? No, osmosis or not osmosis?
I don't know.
Fucking,
I don't know, absorption
absorb
through
shit
the
through your skin.
epidermis.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of butt chugging stuff, but that's a
Yeah.
new one.
Have you ever butt chugged?
No, it's
Yeah.
no.
It's terrifying, dude.
Yeah.
It's
That's-
terrifying. I was on the
It's
verge, but I backed out last
Yeah,
minute.
fuck
Yeah.
that.
Well, not to mention that you're just mainlining alcohol, but there's a vulnerability aspect to that,
It's having a bottle in
That's
your
what I
butthole?
mean. That's what I mean. It's
Well, you've got to
yeah.
like get upside down or at least in some vulnerable position for a dude.
Unless you get
you
a
know.
pump.
Yeah, unless you have a pump. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
But you could use one of those like inline pumps like for a gas
Like
tank,
a siphon.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a yeah.
Just suck start it.
That's
I wonder if you can transfer.
get your
back and
buddy to do it for
forth.
you. Oh my god. All right. Well, this is where this show's going.
I need
But Nick, let's talk about the book. The book's out.
The book's out, man.
Yeah, good segue.
Yeah, perfect segue. Butt chugging straight into
straight into serious shit. Yeah.
There is a stigma that comes along with butt chugging.
That's true. We should debunk that one too.
Yeah.
That's next.
That's not a stigma. That's a fact. But the rest of the stigmas are not real. But yeah, let's talk about the book. How's it been received? I love it.
Man, it's everybody that's read it so far. I've gotten nothing but positive feedback, which is cool. Not a lot of people have read it though yet, because it's still like so early, that not many people other than the advanced readers like you guys have had a chance to read it.
Well, if you're listening to this, go out and buy the book. It's on Amazon, right?
Yep.
It's
on Amazon.
Pre-order.
Yeah, no, you're good. It'll be on Audible in the next couple days. Hopefully,
are you reading
any day now. Yeah.
Okay.
I did the audiobook.
Was that hard reading a book to like a microphone?
Man. Yeah, it's super hard. I was sucked down so much like lemon juice and honey and tea, just to keep my voice. And it's one of those things that like you don't realize you're not just reading, right? Because you have to like perform almost.
Right.
So every time you fuck up, like you have to redo an entire chapter or paragraph or whatever. So it was a lot of like reading and then oh shit, or damn it, and then going back and rereading it.
Did you use your mic or did you go to like a studio or something?
I used my mic. I bought a pop filter, and then I have this cool like echo shield thing.
Oh, okay.
So it's basically like just encased right here. And it was just me doing it. And then I hired a producer to do all the post-production stuff and clean it up.
How long did it take to read it all and to get, from
it took hours-wise, like 20 hours.
Fuck.
For like less than a 4-hour audiobook. So it was a lot, man.
Yeah.
And Allie read her chapter too.
Yeah.
So you get to hear her voice pop in.
Yeah, I think that's what makes this book cool is I think a lot of books, when you think about the title is Stigma, and it's about it when you read the dedication in the front, which I kind of want to get into if you're up for it, but
for sure.
You read the dedication and you can kind of infer what it's about. I mean, you can kind of put two and two together, but and I think when you read the what are they called on the front, like the bylines or the tagline? Like on the cover, like the subtitles. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Subtitles? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you kind of think it's going to start out as like straight into stigmas and stereotypes, and it's like escalation of force where you kind of explain your background. And I thought it was interesting that you started off with the 160th Vice Special Forces. Was there like an intentionality? Shiza. Was that intentional?
It was. Part of the reason behind that is just because the 160th, as I've starting to learn as I'm going in this public space, is lesser known than SF. So I wanted to lead with that, with kind of, and it was also one of the coolest like combat experiences I had, so I wanted to pull something from combat that could like get the reader into it right away, and be like, okay, like kind of establish some like street cred and bona fides right away, Yeah. That was kind of the intent behind that.
Yeah. And it's good. You can tell like when you read the book. Do I sound echoey to you guys? Okay.
Not really.
No.
I'm sure. Anyway, yeah. God. But when we talk, when I was reading it, it's cool because it kind of sets the tone and establishes that credibility. And then it goes from, 160th and kind of works backwards to going, on the 18 X-ray program, and then to SFAS. And I had a question. I was in the infantry, and I understand how SFAS works, but we didn't have 18X when I enlisted. We had just 11X, and you had to be an E5 to go to SFAS, or maybe E4 promotable. You could go to SFAS. The question is, when you graduated AIT, you go down the street to. That reminds me of another question I have. You go down the street to airborne school. You finish an airborne school. Then you head up to Bragg. Were you in the same SFAS as Special Forces Assessment and Selection as the regular Army, with like E5s and E6s from like infantry units and stuff?
Yeah, we were. So the difference is the X-rays, when they get to Bragg, they go to SOPC, Special Operations Preparation Course. So it's like a pre-selection for like 3 weeks. So when we get to Bragg, we do that for 3 weeks, and then we go into selection. I think we got like a week break in between. But yeah. it was a mix of everybody: the officers, the NCOs, prior NCOs, everything, or current NCOs, I guess.
Was that like how you guys did in 19th Group, Tyler? Or was that SOPC? Was that the same thing that you guys, Justin broke his leg on, or you broke his foot on, or
similar? But it's all done in-house, right? So they have like their different phases of pre-selection. Like you'll have you're red, amber, or green, right? So when you're there, and then if you're red or amber, you'll do those SFREs is what they call them.
Yeah, SFREs.
So
that's right.
Every couple of weeks, they'll run through like a 4-day. The first one was a fucking nightmare. And then they kind of like, I think they broke a couple people. Maybe it didn't go so well. And then it got tamer. It didn't get less hard. Some of the fuck games kind of tapered off.
Who's that run by? Is that run by like a specific team, or is it like a training
they have
company or something?
Yeah, they have a training company there called the SWID, Special Warfare Training Detachment, right? So all the people who are pre-selection, haven't gone yet, are there. And then they have some dudes from the teams that are, taking a break or on an off cycle or whatever. They'll be there for a year or two. And so you have a bunch of, bona fide green hats running around telling you what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. That whole thing is super interesting to me. And in your book, Nick, you were talking about when you were at 30th AG. And for the folks that weren't in the infantry, 30th AG is the reception battalion. And AG is for the non-military folks. That's the adjutant general, right? They're like
that was a hard word to read, by the way.
Yeah, adjutant. Adjutant.
I had to do it like 4 times.
Like, why the fuck did I write this?
Yeah. That's like AG is a administration thing in the Army, and so 30th AG at Fort Benning or whatever what's it called now?
Yeah,
Fort
I think
Moore?
it went back.
Is it back to Benning?
Or they found another Benning? I think.
Oh, okay.
I think
they went through and they found all the.
Yeah.
They found other Braggs and Bennings to name it after.
Yeah. But that Moore was a cool dude. I mean, I wasn't unhappy about that one, but I mean, whatever. The interesting part, what you write in the book, and you kind of set the stage about how the drill sergeants treated the people that wanted to quit, like before they even actually got to basic training to 30th AG. And I never thought of that, but I remember seeing those kids with like road guard vests on.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Do you remember that? They would have like road guard vest, and like they couldn't use like the vacuum or something because it had like a cord that they might kill themselves with. And I remember, just like you wrote in the book, like, how can you have any sympathy for somebody that is that kind of, I want to stop short of saying mentally weak, because you don't know what everybody's going through. And, but at the time when just like you wrote in the book you were 21, I think I was 19. Tyler, you were 18 when you went to basic?
No, I was 19. It took me a little bit to get out of high school.
Yeah, that was me too. I went when I was 19.
Yeah, to the best of us.
Yeah. No, maybe I was 18. I don't know. Yeah, I think I was 19, but you had written in there that or can you just tell us a little bit about what that was
Yeah.
like, because it was pretty insightful. When I read that, I kind of underlined that, and I never, 48-year-old me can see the wisdom in what you wrote. Like, I don't
Right.
think 19-year-old me would have gotten it.
Same. Yeah. And that's kind of the premise of it, is like when you enter the military, doesn't matter what branch, right? Like it's a whole new culture and you accept it. You basically like show up and you're like, hell yeah, whatever everybody's doing, I'm on board with, right? And at 30th AG, the story is they would take these guys' shoelaces and like they were segregated on this like second story balcony, and the drill sergeants would get us in formation and point to the kids that were like suicidal or whatever and be like, you see those fucking pussies up there? Like, you do not want to end up like them. Basically, like, if you fuck up, you're going to end up like them. And like, kind of like public shaming at its best, But the point of bringing that story up is not to like have an opinion on whether they were mentally weak or not, right? The point of it is to establish that that's the culture that we're ingrained with from day one in the military, right? Is like, you have mental health problems, you fucking don't say shit, or you're going to end up something like that, right? Like, that's the consequence of admitting you have some mental health problems. So that's the real purpose behind it, is just to emphasize the cultural, where that the culture starts from day one in the military, and that's why so many dudes struggle in silence and have such a problem speaking up. And that's what really like emphasizes these stigmas.
And I think potentially initially, especially for young kids, there's a fucked up side benefit to that being like, hey, because initially you don't know what you can take or where your breaking point is or whatever. So initially it kind of forces you through those first like false walls, I think.
Yeah.
But then eventually you build the ability to keep going through these walls when you probably should have stopped a long time ago.
Right.
You're just fighting against shit that you shouldn't be fighting against. But I think initially, yeah, maybe that's just my thought on that.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like when you get to basic training, you kind of have to buy it hook, line.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're
like
going to war.
you're 100% in. Like,
Yep,
there's no
exactly.
option to
Yep.
like, yeah, I don't know if I like this. Like,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
Eat, sleep, and whatever the other thing is.
But at some point, somebody needs to tell
army.
you, show you how to get off that train.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, we were all guilty of it, sitting around and laughing at those dudes. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, because we don't
until
know
I got
better,
out.
and yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
We don't know better.
And yep.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, it wasn't until I got out that I kind of, you found some. Look at it.
Yeah, I got him.
Hell yeah.
It was in his prison wallet.
Yeah.
But you just don't, until you get time to slow down and like really absorb everything that you just did.
Yeah.
Because there's no time to do that while you're doing it. It's
I
impossible.
felt like that up until I read that part of your book. Like,
Yeah,
I would have
know what you mean.
never made the connection that that's where it starts.
Yeah.
I would have, and it's interesting you wrote that, because when I talked to my nieces about joining the military, I've got two nieces. One went in the Air Force and she was a medic and got out. And my other niece went in as an officer. She was an environmental scientist, and now she took her first flight in flight school today, and she's on her way to be a fighter pilot. And I recommended the Air Force to both of them.
Can I make a observation?
Yeah,
if you stay in something called a dorm, you were never in the military.
100%.
Touche.
I'm just going to say that real quick.
Yeah.
But go on.
Yeah.
You continue.
That's a fact.
It's called extension of college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when I would, if my son asked me, or he's asked me before, what branch do you think I should go in? And I'm like, you have two choices if you want to be a man. It's the Army or the Marine Corps, or maybe special warfare in the Navy, or fighter pilot in the Navy. But it's interesting that we carry these kind of And the truth is, the Army kind of sucks. I mean, like, I wouldn't change it for the world. Like, I loved my time in the Army, and it made me into who I am, good, bad, or indifferent. But when you look at the Air Force, it's hands down a better life.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
still kind of gay. But still kind of gay.
I think it depends on how you measure better in life.
I mean, like purpose. Is it a purpose trip? Like, if I wanted to go in the Army to like kick doors open and shoot people in the face.
Yep.
And you're not going to get that in the Air Force unless you go to PJs or combat controllers.
Right.
Yeah. But even those, it's few and far between the guys that actually get to do that, you know?
I would say the combat controllers see more stuff than PJs.
Yeah, for sure.
Mostly because, you know, PJs aren't in SOCOM unless they're in the 2-4. They're like in Air Combat Command, I think. Not a soft unit, but I could be wrong.
That's above my pay grade.
Air Force people, correct me if I'm wrong. If
don't.
there's any Air Force people left that listen to this show.
Yeah. Every episode's like,
Yeah,
it's funny.
The Blue Union, dude. Like, but yeah, I would have never made that connection. That belittling and that mockery, because I distinctly remember that we had a kid that was on. He I think it was all the way, like, we were already in AIT, like in the infantry, like when you wake up, like you finish basic training, like week 9 or whatever it is.
Yeah, something like that.
And then like you finish like on a Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, you're in advanced individual training for infantry, the School of Infantry. And I remember we were definitely in the infantry course. And one of this kids got a letter from like, you know, like a Dear John kind of letter. And he was like suicidal, and I don't think he was really going to kill himself, but he was trying. He kind of made an attempt with a. Remember those buffers that you'd have to like buff the floor with? Like he tried to like wrap it around his neck and plug it in and hit the button, you know, so it would like strangle him.
Dang.
But like 2 people were like, you know, in the in the bay or whatever, so they. You know, they told the drill sergeant, and he got a road guard vest. And I remember like he couldn't go anywhere without his battle buddy. Had to be like, you know, you have to always be with a battle buddy anywhere you go. Which, sidebar, Army, can we change battle buddy? Like it just sounds kind of. That's one thing I'll say about the Marine Corps. What the Marines, like when you get off, when you're on the bus, those are the people that I think that you're going to basic or boot camp with. Like the people that were in the Army, you go to 30th AG and you get all your shots, and you know, like, and then you class up, and then you get on the cattle trucks or a bus and you go down to your battalion. So I was in 219, the Rock of Chickamauga.
I was in 119.
You were in 119?
119. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was in Alpha 219. So you were like on the. You might have been like the building, because we were the one right next to the Sandhill Shopette. Like a little bit up, and then I think you guys were the next one up the hill.
Dude, you have way better memory than me.
Yeah.
I'd have to like look at Google Earth and dissect it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just on a military base. I couldn't go on there and find it. Right?
Well, I went to basic training twice. So I did I did Fort Jackson.
That's right.
And I was in 126, which eventually actually went to 1st Infantry Division and was an actual operational unit. But and then I reclassed to infantry, and I went all the way through basic training again, all the way through AIT at 219. It was
why? Just because it's OSIT? Is that why they made you do it?
Nope. Because back in the day, if you were not combat arms, you only had to go to the range 1 time a year. You only had to qual once a year. In the infantry, it's always been every 6 months you have to qual. And when I got to basic training, when I got to 30th AG, they sent me to 219, and I went to 219 by myself. Like I wasn't like not the cattle trucks. And I went into S1, and I was an E4 already with airborne wings. And I went into S1 and I was like, hey, I don't know if you heard, but I'm kind of the shit, and I'm here for basic training. Or I was like, I'm here for AIT because I was supposed to be inserted in week 10 at the beginning of OSIT, or not
Yeah.
OSIT, the beginning of AIT. And the S1 dude like looked at this is when we had 201 files. Do you guys even remember those? They
Nope.
were the paper version of your ERB. It was like an actual, not online. It was like a folder. It was called a 201 file, and it was fucking penciled in, which was I was too dumb to just change the date. So the guy's like, "When did you go to the range last?" I was like, "Oh, like I'm good. I'm current. I went like 8 months ago." He's like, "Nah, bro, this is the infantry. It's every 6 months." And I was like, "Okay, I'll go to the range tomorrow or whatever." He's like, "Yeah, no problem. Just grab your bags, go down to Alpha Company, report to Drill Sergeant Pratt." And I go down there, and this dude looked like Webster. Remember that TV show Webster? That little black kid? He looked just like that. So if there's anybody that is listening that went to 219 and knew Sergeant First Class Pratt, you'll know what I'm talking about. But he goes in there and he goes, "All right, grab." And all the privates were out like doing private shit, and he's like, "Grab a bunk." And I was like, oh, in here with the privates? He's like, "Yeah, where else would you sleep?" And I was like, yeah, okay, cool, and dude, I was in week 2 of basic training, and that's when BRM is basic rifle marksmanship. You get the second week in basic training in the infantry, you get issued your M16 as a fucking musket, like the A2, and you get issued it, and you got to go everywhere with it, and that's how I went to basic training twice. So,
damn, dude, that's brutal.
Yeah,
that's brutal. One time sucks.
Yeah.
Did you fuck with everybody while you were in there, or were you just kind of like a sad panda, like, God damn it?
They put me in 4th squad, and they told me to like not tell the privates what was coming up. And they're like, "We're not going to individually ever smoke you, but if the platoon is getting smoked, we expect you to."
So they treated you kind of like a man. They were like, "Hey, we get it."
They would still call me Pride. Hey, Pride.
Well, yeah, I mean, as close as you're going to get in basic training, like, hey.
Yeah, but they never singled me out, but like they would, if everybody, like every day, or when they come in and like toss your bunks around and throw all your shit around, like my shit was all messed up and everybody else's stuff. So yeah.
So they knew, but they didn't want to show anybody else.
Yeah, and I was too like naive to challenge it. I could have just been like, "Hey, like I'm an E4. Like I've been in the Army for 3 years. I don't like this is not correct." And looking back on it now as a warrant officer, I'd have been like, "Oh hell no, I'm not doing that." But I was like,
"I'm going back."
I was like, "I want to be in the infantry. I will do that. I'll do whatever you tell me to, Drill Sergeant."
Drill Sergeant.
So
God, bro, I couldn't imagine being in basic training after 3 years in the Army. Having to go back.
Yeah, it was. But I was like, God and country, infantry. I want to get this blue cord, so yeah. And then I found out that I was 11 Charlie, and for the people that don't know, Charlies come in 2 categories. Typically, you get high GT scores in the infantry, and are fat. Like, not always, but a lot of times.
Like, hey man, you can haul this base plate around.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly like the big backs mortar section I've ever been in. There's always like 3 fat dudes, like 6'2", just big dudes and the smart guys, the smartest guys in the infantry. Typically, you'll find in the mortar sections because there's a lot of math involved. But anyways,
makes sense.
Yeah, all right. History lesson complete. You need to get your financial shit together, and who better to do that than a former military dude? Specifically, I'm talking about Nick O'Kelly. He's legit, long tabber, special forces, 160th pilot. He's not your average dude. Now, I take small piles of money and I give it to him with the goal of making them bigger piles of money. We're not just talking about only managing money. We're talking about building a financial strategy, estate planning, retirement planning. We're talking 5-paragraph op order kind of shit, but for your finances. Nick helped me set up the trust. He handles all that shit. I don't want to do that. It's annoying. I want nothing to do with it.
Sounds good to me.
He also works with my CPA, and they do all the tax strategy stuff. I've got a couple businesses that are side hustles. Tyler's got a couple businesses that are side hustles. You need some cats looking out for you. Cadence Wealth Partners can be those cats. They're trusted advisors. They come from our community. You know they're legit. Visit cadencewealthpartners.com to start a conversation today. Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Thanks.
But back to the book. So it's cool. So I like how you. That's like the second Is that chapter 3? Is that chapter, and then you kind of go in. And I don't want to give too much of the book away. So if I'm like giving too much away, stop me.
Full disclosure, I was waiting for it to show up, and I was hoping it was going to show up today, but it's not.
Yeah,
yet.
man. I know.
The book?
I should have sent you the ebook or the audiobook prior. Sorry about that.
I'm offended.
It might be, dude.
No, you're good, man. I'll just sit over here dumb.
Which is even this then, like my comment to you, like you're beating yourself up internally, and I'm over here like fail, and in my mind I want to be like choke yourself or go, like
right.
But these things are so ingrained in the culture that we say it joking, but we've talked about this time and time again on this podcast, is the thing your brain can't tell the difference whether when you negative self-talk, if you're talking shit to yourself, somewhere your brain is encoding that and going, yeah, like I've got and
yep.
it's what's the word I'm looking for? Impregnated in the culture? No, that's not it. Ingrained. That's a better word.
Yeah. I mean, it is dark humor too. Like we're just we make light of things that are uncomfortable. That's like
you have to
MO.
with the amount of shit that you deal with. Like it's a self-defense mechanism. If you can't muster up enough internal whatever to fucking giggle, an hour after all your buddies just burned into the earth. Right. Like, you're not going to make it out.
Yeah,
you're just not going to.
I know.
Yeah. One question I had for you is you talked about in the SFA, you're kind of explaining SFAS, and you talked about you grew up in a really strict household. Was that because of what your dad's? Do you think that had to do with your dad's vocation, or was that just how your parents were? Or?
No, it's how my mom was raised. German parents, they lived on a farm, and they were literally like not working every hour of the day, or going to school or whatever. So it was just, and very like frugal too. So like everything there was never an abundance mindset, So I think it just all carried over from that of like, be grateful for what you have, like I don't care if it's hard type of thing.
Yeah. Because your dad was a pastor, right?
No, he's done a lot of like work in that space, but kind of like independently, not like officially.
Like kind of like an elder.
He had a Christian, he had like a Christian podcast and stuff. So he's done a lot of that stuff. He's really smart on that stuff. But no, he owned a car magazine, ironically, in Spanish called El Carro. Yeah, dude. I'm not kidding.
I'm going to look that up right now because that's going in the show notes.
It doesn't exist anymore, but it was, I still
it's
have
on the interwebs, dude. Everything's on the internet.
It might be. Yeah. I'm actually curious what comes up because I still have the first copy of it somewhere. But awesome. It was like one of those ones that you put in grocery stores, like the old school, like flip through the magazine. But yeah, there's a huge Hispanic population in Seattle area. So
especially like in Moses Lake and across the mountains,
Redmond, all that stuff. Yeah, it was huge. So no, he was he was awesome. He was a good dad, but he was like working all the time. Like we saw him when he came home to spank us because we did something wrong. You know what I mean? Right. Like that was kind of the upbringing I guess I had with him, and my mom was the dictator in the house. If you will.
Because it was interesting that like SFAS really wasn't like people yelling at you was nothing new.
Yeah, dude. It was like so I guess to put my childhood in perspective, I was the kid that was grounded almost every weekend and would have to like figure out a way to sneak out of my house to actually be a normal kid. I was the kid that my mom would email my teachers every week on Friday to make sure I turned in all my homework and did all my work. So it was like forced success the entire way. And that's why I went to college and dropped out and drank my life away, you know, and was like freedom.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you said you failed every class except for ROTC.
yeah, dude. Had a 1.6 GPA.
Oh.
Like I literally had like 3 A's and they were all my ROTC classes.
Do you think there was like an element to ADHD or ADD or whatever in there? Or is it just like, unmotivated kind of just screwing off?
I think it was the ROTC I got A's in because it was like the same as my childhood. You know, it was like forced. I felt like those were non-negotiable. I felt like I had to go to those. But the other classes, man, I would go to a party, stay out till 3, 4 a.m. and then sleep in till 11 and be like, shit, I missed class. And then 2 weeks would go by and I'm be like, it's not worth going anymore. You know?
Yeah. There's no
I'm going to be so far behind. So that's kind of how it happened. And yeah, just being a dumbass, but
yeah, but I mean, that's all part of it, right? Like that's,
learn a lot.
You just got to go out there and fuck things up.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think anyway.
I'm just grateful. I'm grateful I joined the military instead of like, you know, we all have the stories about the dudes that we grew up with that stayed in their hometown and just kind of, you know, didn't do anything with their lives. So
I would have totally been one of those dudes without the military. Like I was on a train to nowhere. Yeah.
There was a dude, nothing. I played football in high school with this guy named Mike Smith, and he was like a really smart dude and like really funny, and just like everybody loved Mike. And he dated this chick named Rebecca Lennon who liked me in 8th grade, and then she had a glow up in high school, and everybody wanted to be with her, and she picked Mike. Well, the moral of the story is he stayed in our hometown and never did anything. And he was murdered in a McDonald's parking lot in a little area of Wilmington, North Carolina called Monkey Junction during a heroin drug deal. And he was like 35, maybe. He was maybe early 30s, mid 30s when this happened. And I remember thinking like, how could he go from being like the social, like everybody liked this dude and an athlete and like just a stand-up dude to getting murdered in a heroin deal gone wrong in a McDonald's parking lot, you know?
Damn.
Like, well, I think a lot of that has to do with not that things are like handed to you, but when everything seems like real good and like, oh, I'm just doing this, then you have all these guardrails, right? Versus the kids who just kind of didn't have a great home life or had to be self-sufficient, but weren't high school superstars and they just were kind of on the fringes. Like you become somewhat super independent that way. But if everything is kind of like, I don't want to say silver platter, I don't know, you know what I mean? But if everything you're doing is gold, right? Everybody likes you. You're a high school football star. You got the hot chick, you know, you get great grades. Your parents kind of like you and everything's just kind of like good. When all those guardrails come off, you're like, oh, where's all the good stuff? Like I'm supposed to be getting force-fed good stuff.
Yeah. Like
I think it makes you a better parent too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. That's one thing that like I don't know your guys' thoughts on this, but parenting, like those kids that didn't go anywhere, those are always the kids, like the cool kids that got to do whatever the fuck they wanted, you know, like no supervision, no guardrails, nothing. And like, so I am grateful of that aspect that I had that, you know, because it at least kind of gave me the moral conscience to like, I got to do something with my life, you know, even though I did step off the rails for a little bit, but I don't know.
I definitely think, you know, when your kids do something, you know, that you might have screwed up too, instead of like flipping out about it, you're like, yeah, nobody gives a shit about high school. Actually, like it's going to be fine, you know?
Yeah.
But the opposite, when you have parents that I don't want to say don't care, but just aren't super present, is I think those people end up being really strict parents because they crave what they didn't have growing up. Like my parents were always I would say my parents were strict. There was expectations, but there was never like, I was never stressed. And then I look at other folks that I are very, very close to me, that their parents were the coolest parents ever. But now, like, the way they deal with their kids is every little thing is a big deal. Like, oh, you got a C on the test, like the world is ending. And I'm like, man, nobody gives a shit about high school chemistry. Like, your high school isn't, the only thing high school is doing is setting you up to, like, it's just a hoop you have to jump through. Like, if you want to be an officer in the Army, you need to get good grades in high school so you can get into a college to be an Army officer. You know,
Right.
like, nobody gives a fuck about high school. Nobody gives a shit about college. You know how many people I've interviewed that have a college degree that I never checked their, I'm not like, let me see your transcripts, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's businesses out there that it's important, but I can't see 90% of the things.
A doctor, maybe, right? Like,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think industry.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
lawyers, doctors, like maybe if you're a finance bro and you want to go work at Goldman Sachs in New York,
Yeah.
like you probably need to be,
Oh, yeah.
you know, because you're getting paid a lot of money. They don't want
yeah.
duds.
Yeah,
But,
for sure.
But so in the book, you talk about the power of stigma. It's one of the, I guess it's not really a chapter to itself, but it's kind of like a portion of one of the
Yeah.
chapters. Can you kind of walk us through what your take is on that and how it applies in this situation?
Yeah, let me flip the script back on you guys.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Do you when was it okay? And I'm talking about not prior to you being flight lead, Dad. I'm talking like think of enlisted days. When was it okay to go to behavioral health?
Zero times
Yeah,
ever.
never.
In processing and out processing, right? That was
We
it.
didn't even have it. It wasn't even
Like
a
that.
thing when I was enlisted.
Okay. But even then, like, you didn't want people to see your car in the parking lot, right? Like,
Yeah.
if somebody drove to work and was like, Nick, your car was at behavioral health, you'd be like, make something up or be like, you know, I had to
I drove
Get
on
those
There's a
drunk.
chick over there.
get this thing signed. Yeah, exactly. Like, so that's it, man. It's just that's like the core of it right there, right? Is like, you fucking stay away from that building and you stay away from behavioral health, because all of it comes back to the stigmas, right? And we can go through them, but essentially, like, mental health is weakness. Admitting mental health struggles makes you a burden to anybody, to your family, your team, whatever. The real one and the hard one is the career implications, right? Just if you admit mental health struggles, what's going to happen in my career as far as flight status, clearance, all those things. And then the last one is reputation. Like, my reputation is going to be fucked if I say anything.
Yeah.
So
And
those are,
somebody's gonna have to take your spot.
exactly. And that's
Right.
kind of the burden part, right?
Yep.
It's like, if I go down for 6 months or whatever, which in our minds, we never think it's going to be 6 months. We think it's like, I'm screwed forever, right?
Yeah,
But
this is it.
yeah, exactly. Then somebody else is going to have to step up, which might be the case, but it's a temporary thing. Like, my whole mission behind this is to make it okay and to make it not like a career-ending thing in people's minds, right? Like, you go to behavioral health because you're literally having suicidal thoughts, but you go right away before it has a grasp of you. Then the opportunity to heal is so much cleaner, you know, than if you've been dealing with it for 3-4 years and just sucking it down and you have no idea how to unravel it, you know. So that's
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that's in my current job. That's what we deal. Like, our whole thing is we say left a boom or left a bang, is like the time to fix your brain isn't after the fact, you know. And
Yeah.
it's interesting for mental health. Like, if you sprained your ankle, you're going to go to sick call and you're going to get help. But if you're depressed or there's anxiety or something, that and Nick, we've talked about this, even to this day, even after, you know, fucking publicly blasting my mental health story on this podcast, I'm still like, that guy's kind of a bitch. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
On one hand, on one part of my head, and then the other head,
That's
I'm
your
like,
gut reaction.
yeah, my
Right.
gut reaction is like, oh, dude went to mental health. Like, because we used to, the first time I ever saw like a behavioral health and also I think the name sucks, right?
It does.
Like,
yeah.
Behavioral health. It tells me like it's a negative connotation. Make it like cognitive performance, or I don't know, like something.
Yeah.
Not that. And
you
I think
went to
they
go see the
changed it to
performance coach
that
again.
Yeah, like human optimization stuff, something like that. At
Well,
least in some communities.
They still have, like in SOF, they have POTIF, which is preservation of the family and force.
Yeah.
And they have cognitive performance specialists that are performance based, but you still have like embedded behavioral health people that are like psychologists and all that kind of stuff. I just think the name has a negative connotation to it.
It does.
The first time I ever saw that ever was when I was in Iraq. They had it was called combat stress, and you could go, and that was the joke. Like, people would be like, yeah, I'm going to combat stress, or like that dude, hey, you need to go to combat stress. Oh, fuck that, I'm not going over there.
Yeah.
And there was always like, I remember one guy in our company when we first got to Iraq, within like maybe like 60 days of getting there, they got their aircraft got shot up, and some of the rounds went kind of in the chin bubble near the pedals, and then the right crew chief all around the gunner's window. And that individual, it was enough to freak him out that he had to go to Landstuhl in Germany. Like, he was really messed up about it. The crew chief, who arguably took more rounds than the pilot, she stayed in the company for the whole 15 months and stayed in the fight. And I remember there was a lot of judgment at the time going on that individual. And he's a great dude. Like, he's a great American. And he never really ever recovered from that. I remember he was gone for like, we were in Iraq 15 months. That happened like maybe month 2. And then he missed the next 8 months. He was in Germany. And then he came back to the company like month 10, lasted like, he did like one flight and flipped out, and like they sent him home. But
damn,
everybody's got a different point. And that was something I learned along the way, is that we're not all going to be able to choke down the same shit. We had a dude, anyway, their helicopter got shot up. I guess a dish round hit the drive arm on the forward swash plate. And when they landed, the drive arm was hanging on by like a fragment of the bolt head, right? And if that comes off, and then your blades start touching each other, and then the helicopter eats itself, and everything.
This is in a Chinook. Yeah.
And one of the guys on that flight, that was it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And after that, he ended up getting chaptered out of the Army. He's a wreck today. The VA just pumped him full of shit.
Yeah. And, that's like Kagan Gill's story.
Yeah.
Just everybody's got a different point. And the other guys on that aircraft were fine. You know what I mean? Like, one dude's a big suck it up, quit being a pussy. Like, can you believe? I was like, well, yeah, I guess I can. You know what I mean? Because we're not all built the same. We all don't have the same fabric. We don't have the same.
Yeah, your backgrounds, your differences. And I think that's kind of what you were getting at in the heart of in the very beginning of the book, is like, you need to have a little compassion and empathy towards, and actually there's some real science behind that, to when you have compassion and empathy. But what's that been like for you now that you're on the other side of this, from a empathy and a compassion point of view?
So much different, man. I think walking through that fire, first of all, it humbled me like crazy, because before that, man, I was the same as everything we just talked about. You know, I was like, dude's a pussy, can't hang, weak genes, all the above, right?
Yeah.
And going through it, man, it's just like this thing that has a grasp on you that you have no idea how to get out of, and you can't freaking control it. So yeah, empathy is, I guess on a scale, it was like probably a 20, and now it's like a 90, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and even like not even related to depression, just other things in general, you know? Like, I used to like kind of be a dick to Allie sometimes when she'd be like, oh, I got a headache or something, you know? And I'm like, God, you always have a fucking headache. You know what I mean? But now I'm just like, she has a headache, dude. Like, don't be a dick to her because she has a headache, like little things like that I notice,
Yeah.
That's the same way. I can distinctly remember there was a time in my time in the 160th is that I had expectations of my family that I would have of the soldiers that were in the unit. Like, I was like, why is there, anything less than excellence is unacceptable in this household. And you can't really parent like that. It doesn't work. And props to my wife. She had told me multiple times, we are not soldiers. You're not, that is unobtainium, to expect your 6-year-old to do, but you're around that culture so much that, and I always thought, like, if I'm giving 110% every day, I expect you to give at least 100% to load the dishwasher, or same with my wife. Like, hey, I've been working all day and you've been home with the kids. Why isn't the house clean? Or how come you didn't fold that pile of laundry that's been there for 3 days? And now looking at it, like, yeah, because stuff, it's hard raising kids. You're mentally exhausted, so it's,
I catch myself doing that with like baseball, like my son's baseball, like I coach his team and we'll play a game and he'll have a game and he'll like whatever strike out twice or something. And after the game, he's like, God, I don't know why I'm striking out. And I'm like, dude, you don't practice. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get better if you don't practice. But like, I say that because I catch myself crossing the line of like being a dick about it, being like, no shit, dude. Like, of course you're going to strike out if you don't fucking put the work in, but he's 11,
And I will say that there is a fine line between that, but there's definitely, like, today my son just surprised the shit out of me where I picked him up from wrestling practice and they have all the freshmen that are coming in that want to wrestle on the team. And so all the varsity guys, like, they pair them up and like basically the varsity just annihilates these freshmen. Right. And
welcome to the meat grinder.
And my son's a bigger kid and he's like one of the leaders on the wrestling team. And he's like, oh, I'm so pissed. And I'm like, what? He's like, stupid freshman. Like, these kids were whining because, like I was telling them to move their elbows or they're going to get hurt. And I kept slamming them and they kept like kind of crying to the coach. And, and the coach was like, hey, listen to these guys and know what they're doing. And he's like, and they were like, I can't do it. And my son goes, yes, you can. Don't you ever tell me you can't. And I'm like, like, I was like, who does that sound like? He's like, you.
Looking in the mirror.
I sound just like you. And I was like, so I say that to say that those subtle encouragements from, 5 all the way to 15, eventually it goes somewhere in their brain and, it will stay there. There's just a fine line between going overboard and beating a dead horse and then making them resentful for you. And I always tell my wife, like, there has to be an escalation of force in parenting. Like, you can't go 0 to 100 and shoot your kid in the face metaphorically.
Right.
Yeah.
Hopefully
find a different metaphor.
Yeah. But everybody knows what that is. Like, it's universally relatable, like you've got to like,
it's horrific.
But a lot of folks,
of force, shoot him in the face.
Yeah. You got to have a little bit of emotional regulation there.
Less than lethal.
Yeah. So I want to, before we get in, I want to ask you where the impetus came, or like what the moment you realize you want to write this book is. And I don't know if it'd be better to ask that question now or kind of tell the story of, and you've told it on episode 5 of this podcast, but for the people that haven't listened to that, can you give us kind of like what the lead up was, what you were going through, and like when did it click and you go that you had to do something?
Yeah. So it all happened after I transitioned from SF, from group to flight school, and my daughter was born. So she was like, I think 6 months old at that point. So we had 2 kids under 2. My wife was active duty. I was running the gamut of flight school, just basically we weren't sleeping. And you know, I was just stressed, man. I was just chronic stress. I didn't know it at the time, but I was sitting in the Blackhawk course, just learning about the engine, you know, another day. And all of a sudden I just got punched in the face with this suicidal thought. It was just, hey, you could drive your car into a telephone pole on the way home from work. And it was more than a thought. It was like I literally like saw it and was like, what the fuck just happened, you know? And then it just started this endless thought loop, man. It just, it got a hold of me because I'm the type, I know I've told this before, but I'm the type of person that like problem happens, let's find a solution and let's fix it right away. So that was kind of my MO. So when that happened to me, I obsessed over it. You know, I was like, what the fuck is this? How the fuck do I fix it? And how do I get rid of it? You know? So by me obsessing over it, that gave it a lot of attention and just created this endless thought cycle that I just couldn't get out of. And I think it was 2 weeks after, or maybe a week after the onset of it is when I had Allie. So I was sitting in bed one night and I have like a fingerprint safe next to my bed with my pistol in it. And that was always the thought when I was laying in bed, like just grab my pistol and do it, you know? And one night I was sitting on the side of my bed and I asked Allie to hide the pieces of my gun because I was just fucking terrified that I was terrified because I felt like I couldn't control my thoughts and I felt like there was no escaping them. So it was like, it was never actually that I wanted to do it. It was always just, I don't see another way out of this because it's not fucking stopping and it's consuming my every thought. Right. So that's how she found out, we've talked about that, but just a real shitty way to find out. And then I think a week after that, go ahead.
Well, so from the time that you're in systems class, learning about TGT limiting and P3 air and variable geometry positions in a T700 GE engine, how long? You were 701. Yeah. See, they didn't even have alpha models back. So when you from that time to this time you're sitting on the side of the bed, what was the amount of time there again?
It was quick. It was, I don't know exactly, but it was a week or two. It was very quick.
And the reason I bring that up is it's amazing how quickly you'll circle the drain. Like, I've talked about it before with my stuff is like, I was okay. I quit my job where Tyler and I used to work. And like 3 weeks later, I was like, oh, I'm going to take my jet ski out and just, you know, and I'm like, and then what kind of, you know, snapped me out of it, I was like, I didn't want my kid, you know, I was like, who kills themselves on a jet ski? Like, that's ironic, you know, like it's the funnest thing ever. And, but so I think too, that people don't understand is chronic stress equals brain drain, right? And there's science behind that. Your brain is inundated with cortisol. You got reduced neuronal activity in your frontal lobe, which is the kind of the CEO or the, you know, this is where your executive function is happening. And it reduces dopamine. You get hippocampal cell death, and your amygdala, right? That's your fight or flight stuff. Your amygdala gets hyperactive, and that leads to a high incidence of depression, anxiety, and rage. One of the common things that you see, especially dudes coming from soft, when they get out, they're just fucking angry. Like, and they don't know why they're angry. It's because you've got years of chronic stress. You know, you've got all this cortisol built up in there, and it really prevents your brain from operating efficiently and impairs your thinking. It slows neuroplasticity, which is your brain's ability to rewire and learn. You know, there is nothing that good that comes from stress. And I think in the military, it's kind of worn like a badge of honor, or even in the corporate sector, like to be stressed out is like, you've made it, you know, and that is no way to live, man.
Yeah. Cause it affects so much more than just your job, you know?
Yeah.
It affects all the important shit. Your job is least important.
Exactly. But we don't think about it at the time as that, you know, because that's where we put all our time and energy. Yeah, pair that too with like not sleeping, having a daughter that's crying all fucking night, obviously not all night, but you know what I mean?
But enough. Yeah.
Yeah, enough that it was a lot. And then drinking all the time too, that's part of the culture too.
Yeah. You're just pouring.
You go hard. Yeah.
Alcohol. I mean, literal.
Yeah.
Propellant Poison. On a bonfire.
Yeah. So I was just fueling the fire that I didn't know, or whatever, fueling the embers I didn't know existed.
So you have the incidents where you tell her to hide the pieces of your gun, and then what was that like? And you kind of hid it for a pretty lengthy amount of time. Like, what was that time from that moment to when you kind of had this epiphany that I need to raise my hand and say I need help? How long was that?
So other than the chaplain situation that we've talked about, so I don't know if you know this, Tyler. So I went to about a week after, maybe 2 weeks, something like that. It was still a short timeline after I told Allie to hide the pieces of the gun. I went to the chaplain on Fort Rucker and told him, and he had to drive me to behavioral health, which obviously I didn't want to fucking do that.
Right.
And long story short, actually, this is an update that I discovered while I was writing my book and going through my medical records. In that medical record, so for the audience, I had to do like a suicide questionnaire and like go get seen by somebody, and they basically went over it and told me, I think you're good. I think this is temporary. You can continue training. But in that medical record, man, there's literally a quote in there that the clinician wrote down that says, SM states there are demons in his head. Like, literally fucking, that's in quotation marks in my medical record. I'm like, and you let me walk out of that clinic after I literally said that to you,
and fly a helicopter
and fly helicopters for the next. Yeah. So
yeah. What does that say about and for context, what year was this?
This was in 2015.
Yeah. So we're still
16. Sorry, 16. End of 2016.
Iraq is
back
over. It's back on for SOF. We were back in 15, but Afghanistan is in full swing still, and so there was still kind of a pilot shortage. And so I think. Do you think there was some? Do you think either there was command influence, or do you think that the clinician was just trying to do you a solid, or both?
I think it was the latter. To be fair to her, like, I didn't want to get pulled out of training, and I was very clear about that. So I do think it was that. I think she was like, I think in her mind she was like, he'll be okay.
But did you feel let down?
Yeah, dude, I was pissed.
Like, as much as you didn't want to get pulled out of training, as much as you wanted to keep rowing the boat, were you like, fuck?
It's like when you play football or sports.
If somebody else tells me to stop,
let me break a wrist.
Yeah, because it was kind of like, yeah, exactly. It was kind of like that was my one shot, Yeah. So now I'm gonna go,
and I fucked that up.
Yeah. So now I'm just gonna fix it on my own, which obviously didn't work out. So to your question though, Thad, that was the Nexus was in October 2016, and I didn't speak up about it truly until 2022, like summer of 2022.
Yeah, because when I met you, we met at church, and that was 16 or 17.
That would have been 17 because I got to the unit in 17. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, when did you get to? When did you get the third cab?
April 2017.
Yeah, April, so you got to third ID, and that's where we met. And then I was like, "Hey, man, go get some more time, deploy if you can." And then came back and assessed, and then I think we talked on and off. I had retired before you got to the company, and
like right before.
Yeah, and then you had texted me or something and said, "Hey, I'm doing a medical retirement," and I think you'd ask how I did it, or what I went through, and you had told me that it was for narcolepsy.
Yeah,
but even then, you were still kind of hiding it a little bit, right?
100%, man. I was hiding behind that narcolepsy diagnosis basically till I got out, till I got the balls to speak up and talk about this. The only people that knew it was mental health was like the command, like the commander, and that was it. The only people that had to know.
Where does that fit in? Like, kind of, I don't want to say lying to yourself, but in the stigmas, where would you place that
Reputation.
Reputation?
Yeah. I was terrified of what people would think of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you read the book, Nick lays out each stigma and like what it is and then what it's not.
Yeah.
Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, that's fair. Because and you guys know how reputation is. Like, I use the line in the book, like, reputation is currency in the military.
Yeah,
you know?
100%.
And it's fragile. You do one stupid thing, you know, get in a bar fight, whatever.
It's
suck one dick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly, bro.
Oh, the bar fight. I just talked to I won't say his name on here, but I mean, his whole thing ruined, you know. And so if you're listening to this, we're talking about you. But
yeah, he'll know.
But yeah, that reputation, even when you get out of the military, like your reputation in the military, like, has gotten me jobs, you know.
I still feel the pressure of that where I work now, because people are like, oh, you were at this place doing this thing.
Yeah.
And so we kind of, it's almost like I feel like they expect more from me. And probably that's me just putting it on my shoulder. And not only that, like, I do want to represent that still.
Yeah.
I want to show up, and I don't want somebody to be like, oh, it's another fucking Night Stalker, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, hey, like, I try not to talk about it at work, but it's like, there's still the pressure to carry the flag for regiment, especially when it comes to aviation stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And excellence in everything you do, you know, because you will forever be tied in those circles to that organization, you know, or like, you know, or if you're a special forces dude, a special forces regiment, if you're from a Ranger regiment, like those, you know, you look at guys like Danny Archer, you know, like his currency, he still does stuff with the Rangers, even though he hasn't been a Ranger in like 25 years or something, you know? So, yeah, I mean, I got a job offer, not really an offer, but somebody hit me up about doing some side work, and they said, hey, look, we want to give it to you because we know your work ethic and your rep in the unit. And now I really kind of wanted to do that job. It would have been a pretty sizable amount of money, I think. But then I'm like, man, I don't need any more stress in my life, and I don't need to go down that road that we're all so used to. Like, you get that little itch. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck shit up and make money and do, you know.
Once that switch flips, it's like it's hard to shut it back off, and then all the old shit comes right back with it.
Yeah,
yeah.
So
that was one of the actually that was one of the most challenging things writing the book, was not framing any organization in a bad light. You know, I wanted to be really, really careful about that, because the last thing I want is for this book to like hurt recruiting or something like that, you know? So I really tried to avoid anything like that and just focus on the one aspect, you know, of the culture
Yeah. And I think you did a pretty good job of that. And there's some stuff you don't there's a peek behind the curtain, but not enough that you could figure it out if you're going to go assess or whatever, you know?
Right.
Which, and I kind of feel that the same way. Like I don't want to talk bad about the 160th. It has done way more good than harm, but there's clearly a downside. And it's not that, or it's the culture that the organization demands to be successful,
and has to.
And it has to.
It has to. You have to
agree.
You have to fucking hit the bottom and absorb all that shit for it to be what it is, right? And I think maybe some of it is a lack of expectation or awareness of like, hey, we all know that war is going to fuck you up, right? Like, at least I had that expectation coming in. Like, I didn't even expect to live through it. I was like, okay, this is going to be hard, right? And so on those really shitty days when I was in, I was like, okay, well, this is just what it is.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like, okay, so just, you know, left foot, right foot, one foot in front of the other. Like, this is part of it. And I think that, I don't know if it's the difference from our generation. There's a huge emphasis on career and staying the 20. right? Versus like prior, it was like, hey, you go in, you do your war, you go home.
Yeah.
Versus like, no, hey, this is everything you got to do to make it another 18 years in this fucking shithole.
Yeah.
And so then you're measuring yourself.
Go ahead.
No, go
ahead.
I was just gonna say, and then you're measuring yourself against people who can stay to retirement. And then like myself, I was like, fuck it, 12 years, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then of course, there's still people who are like, dude, you should go back in. I'm like, I talked to a lady in June who was still in the Army, and she's like, I really think you should go back in, you know, benefits, health benefits, and all the stuff when you retire. And I was like, well, what did you do when you were in the Army? You've been in for 30 years, right? Like, probably wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
But it's a little different.
I think you talk about a little bit like about that in the book, Nick, about kind of putting up and shutting up or just suck it up, or, you know, that kind of mentality, which
has value when it's needed. Yeah. It has value when it's needed. Like, and that's the like crux of this whole thing, is like a lot of the same traits that make us so good at what we did are the same traits that make us so susceptible to falling in that slippery slope, you know, and getting in that rut, because we just go freaking hard.
And I think like the difference between sucking it up in a firefight or on a hard deployment needs to be not when you're home, right? So you don't care, like, so, okay, hey, I'm at home, things aren't crazy. But again, with those organizations, you're never home.
Yep.
So you never kind of get that, you know, the white space on the calendar to come off. Like, you might get a week at home, 2 weeks at home, maybe a month, but what's a month?
Yeah.
You know, you're prepping for a trip.
And I think culturally, like, we kind of did like a 180 from culturally how this country, if you kind of look back historically, right? Like, during the Revolutionary War, there was not a real standing army, right? Like, we literally had to hire a Prussian dude named Baron von Steuben, the Blue Book, to come over and teach our militia how to, like, you know, drill and, you know, like the goofy, like, line up in a rank and like shoot the redcoats. And then after the war, they disbanded. And then this all the way through, you know, the Civil War, like, you had all these, there was a standing army, but not of substance. And then, you know, you'd have like, I'm in the 8th Kentucky Infantry and the 45th Ohio. And like, they were all people based on the what's that?
People they grew up with.
Yeah. It was a regimental system based on where you lived. And then you just joined that organization. And we saw this with World War I, where people volunteered. And then if you want to go down a conspiracy theory rabbit hole, World War I and how it started, like, we should do an episode on the craziness of that. It just if you want to go down a Google rabbit hole, just Google World War I starting conspiracies.
Super sidebar, and this piggybacks into Dr. Feelgood. There's another book about a private detective who had Marilyn Monroe's house bugged the night she died. I'll tell you about it later.
CIA.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right.
But even up until, you know, World War II, Pearl Harbor happens, everybody enlists, and then they do their time and then they get out. And then, you know, you have a few guys that stick around to Korea or get recalled. Like my grandfather being drafted into the Navy in World War II, got out, and then, like, he was in E6 when he got out, and then a couple years later, or I guess 5 years later, Korea kicks off, gets redrafted. I don't know if he got redrafted or volunteered, but he went to Korea. And but then even in Vietnam, like, draft system. And then after the 70s, when we saw that wasn't, we made a professional standing army, which, to be clear, I think that is the way to go. Like, I think it is a better system than I would never. People are like, I think people should serve and they're going to get good stuff. Like, you can't legislate morality and discipline, and, like, you can't force somebody to do something they don't want. Like, you're not going to be effective as a fighting force if you don't want to be there. And but the problem with that is we develop this warrior culture where everything is based on, you know, being optimum, you know, killing machine, which again is, I think, absolutely a good thing for that moment, but it's not it's not a model of sustainability that can last like 20, 30 years. And I would, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then you get into this like this kind of hero worship that we've like way overcorrected from Vietnam, like
super weird,
like which is like now we're like not all heroes wear cape, and I'm not busting balls on that. Like it's great to hear, but let's be honest, like it's a little misplaced, right? Like you know.
Think about it. Like we got 3 special operations guys on the call right now. I don't think any of us would consider ourselves heroes to any extent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No.
Like, not at all.
I mean, I was having fun like that. I mean,
I went to summer camp with the boys and we did
exactly, dude. Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm talking about those guys that have like the
Tim Kennedy.
No, like
oh, sorry.
The like the Desert Storm veterans hat that's like specifically seeking out Applebee's on Veterans Day.
Well, there's a difference in like the veterans from the 80s in their pride that they took and the fact that they were in the military versus like our generation. It wasn't cool to be proud that you were in the military.
Yeah, there was no like. That's why nobody joins the VFW. I mean, some people join the VFW.
Not cool.
And so it's kind of like it's kind of counterculture, like
it's true. That's why people don't even go to the VA, man, or don't even get in the VA system. They're like, they just want to be done.
But also because my VA doctor's a drug dealer, for real.
Yeah, that probably doesn't help.
Like, if I went in there and was like, let me get a prescription for OxyContin, she would write it, no questions asked. She would just hand it to me and be like, "Go get high, dude." Like,
yeah, I was in with mine a few months ago, and I mentioned something. And it wasn't even like, hey, let's look into it. It's like, well, do you want to take this? And I was like, so off my self-diagnosis, you've offered me a prescription.
Yeah.
Without even
drug
thinking
dealers,
about it.
bro. Like,
dude, that's insane. You could literally probably message them and say, hey, I need this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah.
Man, I
crazy.
Hurt my toe. I need a little bit of meth.
Yeah, exactly.
Where do I get cocaine? And they would be like, well, it's pretty close, like chemically compound. It's like only a couple amino acids off of cocaine.
Take extra Adderall.
Yeah. But so I want to keep on the book, and I want to get to the very, very, very opening of the book. But before we do that, depending on, you got time? We got time?
I got time.
I was really happy to read about Doug White in this book, and I just kind of got to set the stage of like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon situation here. So Tyler goes to the Catamaran Yomp in Scotland. I said it right.
Better. You're getting better.
Which we've talked about this
Catamaran
ad nauseum on this podcast. So Tyler goes there and meets this dude, Doug White, and they become friends. And Doug is a retired sheriff's deputy here in Florida, which arguably I would call the Tampa area Central Florida, but apparently people consider that South Florida, but I don't think so. Doug will have to correct us on that. But he did, what did he do? 30 years in law enforcement, right?
25?
25, I think.
Yeah, 27, right? 27 at the sheriff's and like 3 or 4 years in the Air Force. Something like that. I don't know. You can check out his podcast at Tell the Story. It's a really great podcast. And you should also get his book too. But so Tyler meets Doug. I start the podcast. Tyler comes on as a guest. And then we're like, hey, we should do more episodes. And then he's like, dude, we should talk to my buddy Doug. So Tyler sets it up. We get in a car or get in Tyler's truck. We drive to Tampa on the other side of the state, and we do a podcast with Doug. It's episode 10.
And he had given me the manuscript at that point, right? And then I gave it to you to read.
Yeah, you gave it to me, and I read it, and it is a gut wrenching, ball kicking. Yeah. It's I say it's difficult to read. I don't mean like it's hard to read the book. It's difficult to like comprehend what law enforcement dudes go through every day.
Yeah.
And then that episode was the number 1 performing episode on our podcast until I
Started doing
eclipsed
drugs.
Doug's. I did drugs and I eclipsed you now. But then I remember Nick was talking about writing the book. And I think I was like, dude, you should talk to Doug about writing the book because he just written his book. And then you got a bunch of lessons learned. And then like, how did that relationship develop out of, I think you went on Tell the Story too, right?
I did. Yeah. Dude, Doug turned into, he won't admit it, but he turned into like a mentor to me, man. Like,
yeah, all
throughout the book writing process, everything, man. He was just my sounding board that I could call and be like, hey, dude, what do you think about this? Or I'm going through this, you know, what can you relate? Even like just until the last couple of weeks when I was recording the audiobook, you know, I had to use his prior experience to kind of learn how to do it, what to do, all that stuff. So yeah, man, our relationship, it's awesome how things come full circle. Cause like, I'd say me and Doug talk weekly ish for probably about an hour.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. It's just amazing what connections can do.
And Doug's book is out on Audible now. If you don't like reading, you can just listen to it.
And he has a new radio show on iHeartRadio, I think is what it's on.
Yeah.
And he gave his book to Jocko the other day.
Yeah.
I saw that, man. That's so cool.
You got it in the background, Extreme Ownership. And I always kind of was skeptical of Jocko, but according to Doug, he's legit. So if Doug says he's legit, then he's legit.
His books are pretty good. And I've listened to some of his podcasts. Like he's a more well-spoken Navy SEAL than you'll get out of most of them, I think.
Because he was an officer.
Yeah, still a SEAL. But no, I think most of his stuff is pretty all right.
I like Jocko, man. I think he's putting good stuff in the world.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think and we talked about this when we talked about Tim Kennedy, is I have a hard time glamorizing or using what like we're supposed to be quiet professionals. And then like when you leave the service, you still judge, like everybody hates Tim Kennedy for what he did, but that's not the real reason. It's because Tim Kennedy's doing better than you. And he kind of used the special forces vehicle for street cred. And I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with that. And
I do.
Well, no, the part when he lied, that's a problem. And I think
my issue is where you think you're special because of it, right? Like you're taking something away from the community by blowing it out of proportion and acting like you're better than because of, as opposed to you volunteered to do a thing. Very noble when you did it and very noble that you made it to where you did. But like by cheapening the experience, by blasting it everywhere and being like, I know how to do everything because I'm special forces. I know how to do everything because I'm a Navy SEAL. You need to listen to me because I was in the 160th, right? Like all of those cheapen the existing organizations, I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nick. I have a different take on that.
So I do too. And I just made it literally my last YouTube video on my channel is called Quiet Professionals. And it's about this because I had to do some soul searching with what I'm doing, right? Because I'm a freaking YouTuber now. I wrote a book.
You're a content creator.
Yeah, dude. Like I'm that dude that, people
would look at me like, by the way.
That's right, baby. So many hats right now. But I'm that dude that people probably do look at. I mean, I'm not famous yet at all, but people probably look at and are like, how's he a quiet professional? He's out there blabbing his mouth. But the way that there's in the YouTube video, there's two definitions of quiet professional. All right. The first one is the mission. Okay. Get in, get out, wreak havoc. Nobody knows you came in. Nobody knows you left. Nobody saw you come in. Nobody saw you leave. You do your job quietly, right? And you do it professionally. That's number one. Number two is the individual level where you do your job well at a high level and you don't seek the recognition for it. Like you're not out there, saying I should have gotten a freaking Medal of Honor for this shit. You know what I mean? And because I'm so badass. And then the last part of it is how you use it post-service. So like, what's the intent behind what you're doing? You know what I mean? Is the intent to glorify yourself, or is the intent to spread your lessons learned or spread whatever you gained from your service to other people for the better? That's kind of my take on it.
And I will say that I don't mean as in like not, you know, if it's part of your story, right? Like that's a big part of your story. It's part of your story. But there's people on Fox News, right, who are like,
totally different.
We have a Navy SEAL here who's here to comment on this thing. Like, well, what the fuck does he know about it? Because really, they aren't involved in any of this shit ever.
Right. And he probably served 15 years ago, you know?
Like, And so there's that's my, I guess my delineation that I didn't say before. Like there's a difference when it's part of your story. And of course, like for all of us, that's a huge part of who we are and how we got to where we are. And so, yes, it is a part of your story, but you're not running around like fucking, I'm going to teach you how to break into cars and prep for the rest of your life because we got to go to combat in the streets and one man CQB.
I think there's my kind of view on that is like, if I'm hiring a dude, right. And I got 3 candidates and one guy, I look that all things being equal. And I look and I see, oh, this guy was a long tab SF guy, or, you know, we have a conversation. Oh, hey, I was in 275. Like that comes with a level that I know what you're capable of. Even if you just got in the door and like you were there like a year, like you are still a cut above the society that is a slice of the army, right? Or the army is a slice of society.
Right.
So, and there is a thing to where you don't think you're better than everybody, but you kind of do. Like we will never admit to it outside of us talking. Like if you and I are talking, we're like, fuck that guy. He was never in the, you know, he was not in the ones. Yeah. Like, but like, outwardly we'd be like, no, it's not a determiner, but it kind of is. And, you know, and so what I kind of view this is like, I'm kind of in this space now where like I had to do a fundraiser at my current job. And I was kind of there to be like, hey, what was your experience like in the Army? And that was very awkward for me. And we had talked about, oh, we should wear like next time we should wear like a little, you know, aviator wings, or Kevin was going to wear his like SEAL Trident badge. And my initial thought was like, oh, that's not me. But then I was like, the intent here is to get folks like far recognition. Like they can, oh, that's the military guy. I want to go talk to him, hear his story, and then cut him a check for $1 million. Not me personally, but the nonprofit I work at. So in that instance, like I think it's okay. I think where it gets off the rails, or a lot of people get jealous when you see guys like before Tim Kennedy had this before this incident, there was a lot of Tim Kennedy haters. There was a lot of Jocko haters. There's a lot of
just search YouTube and try to find videos debunking anything they did. You'll find them everywhere.
There's the guy that what's the guy from Delta that was on
John
the Shrek or whatever, that guy. Like there was a whole series on that guy about how all the stuff, which I don't doubt it sounds exactly like what you would think
can
would
I
happen
debunk
over there.
Something real quick?
Yeah.
On that one. So I watched it with my brother, who's also
I sent it to you, right? Didn't I send that to you?
Yeah. And my brother and I watched it because I watched it first, and I was like, dude, you got to check this out. Because like, I don't know, a month prior, we were talking about like how badass he is, you know, and all the shit he did. And we're watching I think it was the Anti-Hero one is who like put him on blast. And the Delta guy on the Anti-Hero podcast was like, he was picking apart one part where John McPhee said, we had outgoing mortars and incoming mortars, and I couldn't tell which was which. And the Delta guy was like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You know the sound of outgoing versus incoming. And my brother's like, dude, like that the outgoing wasn't right next to him. The outgoing was on another like ridge line. You know,
Yeah.
so there's
Right.
mortars fucking going everywhere. It's not
over
like
his head in every direction.
yeah, it's not like the tube was right next to him, but
Right.
the Delta guy was tearing him apart. Like, this guy doesn't even know what a mortar is, you know? And I'm like, bro, like, stop.
But that's my whole point is like that guy is doing the same thing that he's
Yeah.
doing, but just
they're
in
getting
reverse.
clout from it, right?
Yeah,
So
they're
it's-
getting clout.
yeah.
Like, look how much,
It's ironic.
look how much I know. Or, you know, you get the name drops and, oh, I
Yeah.
know that, you know, this guy. And like, none of that shit really matters. Like, none of this shit matters at all. Like in the
Right.
long run.
like
Yeah.
everyone, and the whole like trying to burn everybody down.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good
it-
one.
Oh, we eat
The-
our own so much.
Who-
Oh my god!
who
And
was
it
that?
just
Oh.
makes everybody look like a bunch of high school girls, though.
Yeah.
And
Did
so
you-
everyone's like, and then everyone looks at all the soft community like, oh my god, you guys are all just a bunch of whiny bitches. And it's like,
Did you
yeah,
see
dude.
that post on LinkedIn by a guy from our former unit that called out some guys in our unit for doing that?
No, I'm very curious.
I
You
won't
gotta
say
send
their
that to me,
names,
though.
but-
you got to send that to me.
Well, and I got the whole story because this particular individual is in 3rd Battalion, is now a regional manager for a pretty big water pump company. And it's good money. And he needed like a branch manager for one of the stores. And he had said there was a guy that was in the unit in our organization that was interested in the job. And so this guy that was posting the job didn't know him because he had already retired. And he had made a thing in like a group chat that we're all in that was like, hey, does anybody know this guy? And somebody replied in there like, oh yeah, that dude's a quitter. He's only did 3 years or what. It was nothing on the guy's character or substance. It was about his dedication to the organization.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between when you're on active duty and when you're out of, you know, like, I don't give a shit if you're a civilian. Like, I'm going to generally judge you on the content of your character. Now, if you came from that organization and I know you're capable, that's going to be obviously brownie points. And I'm like, okay, this,
Right.
I know what
Yeah.
what this guy went through. Like he will perform. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I'll send you the, I think I like hearted it or thumbed up it on LinkedIn or whatever. And there was no names drop. I know who the individuals were, but,
Okay.
but it was, you actually know one of the guys, Tyler, you might know him too. I'll tell you when we're off here, but,
Okay.
yeah, it's good times.
Yay.
Um,
That's crazy, man. Yeah.
yeah.
It's so stupid though. It's so petty.
yeah.
Like,
Because
It
people,
is.
nobody gives a shit what you did in the military, but they do,
Yeah.
but they
Well,
don't.
now you can get famous off of it. Right?
Yeah.
That's what it
You could
is,
have been
man.
in-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
you could have been mediocre, you could have been exceptional, but now there is a dollar sign attached to what color beret you put on your head
Yeah.
or what pin you
There-
put on your chest.
And there's no doubt that like
And that's cool. And that's actually kind
Yeah.
of neat. But
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah.
The shit that's going on with it is like it's kind of exhausting. I'm over
Yeah.
like the celebrity veteran thing.
yeah, I think it has to be in context, and then you have to look at it like, are guys like Jocko putting out actionable good advice and and they're
He
saying
is, I
from a
think.
standpoint of credibility, or are they in it for me? And sometimes
Exactly.
it's both. And
Yep.
but that's also okay to like we all hone skills in these organizations that benefit the civilian population. Why shouldn't you be compensated for sharing if
Right.
you worked at IBM for 30 years and you
Yeah.
took your lessons learned, like you would get paid for it, right? So
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing one way or the other. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, we're the only industry where it's taboo to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Literally,
Yeah.
you know,
Like, yeah,
anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere else, we're like, oh, dude, that guy was a CEO of this company. So much freaking respect. Let's hear what he has
Yeah.
to say, you know?
Yeah.
And then us soft guys are like,
fuck
fuck
that
that guy. Fuck that guy. You know, I remember one time he
Yeah.
fucking missed the target by 2 inches. He
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I did.
Can you believe he got a DUI and got
Right.
You're like, yeah, I can believe
Yeah.
that.
That's what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of it.
So I want to ask in the very, very beginning, I'm going to scroll up so I get this kind of quote right. in the very beginning of the book, the dedication, I love what you wrote about your wife. I know her, and it's all true. Um, but there's a story about Brian Gray, and I don't know if that's his name was changed
No, it's
to
his name.
that's his real name.
Yep.
Do you feel comfortable telling us what the story? I mean, can you just give us that story of how how that came to get in the book?
Yeah. So Brian and I went through basic and the Q course and everything together. Brian was the dude that like we all have that friend who like when times are shitty, like he's cracking jokes and making everyone laugh, like just had that. He was just that dude, like no matter how shitty it was, he was the one fucking saying sarcastic shit and making everyone laugh and
The
making light of
Jeremy
it.
Thibodeau of the
See,
Q
exactly.
course.
Everybody knows somebody like that. Yeah. And that was him. And he was a stud, man. He was literally in the STAR course. So on the land nav part of the Q course, he fell on a stump in the middle of the night, broke, I think I'm going to fuck this up, but 2 or 3 ribs, and continued the rest of the night, found his next 3 points, and was the second person in our entire SFAS class to finish the STAR course with 2 broken ribs. Like, just fucking could barely breathe and just grunted through it and did it.
The STAR course is land nav, right?
Yeah, it's land nav. So it's like a 12-hour course where you have to find 4 points. I don't know the distances. The longest one's usually like 10 clicks. The shortest one's like 4 or 5. So it's a good amount of distance that you're traveling. And yeah, man, like that's just the kind of guy he was. Like he was just a fucking stud, no quit. He graduated, got his Green Beret, and then he got out and became a state trooper. And he was just dealing with depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts and everything, and got the best of him. And they found him like dead in his squad car one day. It was about a year ago. And he has a wife, and his wife was literally pregnant at the time. So he's got I think his daughter's, I want to say 2, and then his son's about a year.
Yeah.
So it's just, man, it's heartbreaking because I just saw myself in him so much, like we were best friends in the Q course. Like we were just the same dude in a different body,
Yeah.
and it's heartbreaking, man.
And did you guys have a lot of contact after you separated ways, or is it just kind of somebody who,
No, I actually found out through a mutual friend. He reached out and told me, that went through all that stuff with us. So, sucks, man.
Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah, and I was talking to somebody a week or 2 ago. Yeah, I was in Germany. I was talking to my buddy who lives out in Germany, and he's getting ready to retire. He's W5, and we kind of got on this topic of all this stuff. He's like, dude, I kind of had like no idea. So it's still like a very not talked about while the guys are in still. So they still kind of have no idea about all this shit. And it's only really something that you learn afterwards. And so I was just going down the list of these dudes. We were just talking, and I was like, oh, and and this guy did it. And he's like, he's like, is it really that fucking bad? I was like, dude, it's like more than one person, that you were in and very close with, that you will not expect. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and that's the fucked up thing. And it's always just it's always in the back of my mind every day. It's like, okay, who's next?
I know.
Right. And so I'm trying to go on. Sorry.
No, you're good. My bad. There's also kind of a fucked up part where people almost wear it as a badge of honor,
Yeah.
like almost like, oh yeah, I know this many dudes. And it's like, it's not fucking cool, No,
man.
Like,
it's heartbreaking.
It's extremely heartbreaking, especially when you see the aftermath, man. It's just like I talk to his wife frequently now because of all this, and she read my book. or is reading my book, and I've gotten multiple texts from her this week, just like that's exactly what Brian was saying to me before he did it, you know. And I'm just like, fuck, you know, it's heavy.
And I think it's worth bringing up too is these people aren't failures, and you know,
they're
like
anything but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I was talking about. The guy that was on that mission I found out, you know, a couple months back, he killed himself. He was a corporate pilot doing very, very well for himself. And like from a distance, everything was great. And that's why I think it's so important that, just like Nick was talking about and what I've said, is like the distance for you to circle the drain to get to that point is very, very, this is something, you know, if somebody offers you fentanyl, you're like, yeah, I'm probably not gonna, you know, like, you know, or if you go to the beach and there's like a rip tide or whatever, undertow, and they got their red flag, like you kind of think twice about it, right? Like you're like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't go to Mexico and go in cartel country and drive an Escalade, and you know what I mean? Like there's all these things that, you know, that if you go down this road, it doesn't end well. The problem with this is you rapidly go down that road, and you're like a guy like me. I was like, I'll never get to that point. And like, then you find yourself at that point, and kind of in Brian's case, like just like with Doug, there's a part in Doug's book where he talks about he's sitting in his squad car staring at this orange coal cone, and he's got his service pistol on his side, and he's like, oh, I could just, and it amazes me that how quickly that happened for me. And I think, you know, obviously Nick, it was 3 weeks for you. And I think it's one of the things that you kind of talked about in the book, in the chapter about Doug, is that Doug saw himself as a failure. And I would probably, that resonates with me, because at the time I thought I was kind of like a failure. And I think Tyler, if folks go back and listen to episode 3, when Tyler talks about his story, and when you're in the back of the pickup truck in the maple, is it a maple grove? Is that what you call those?
Oh, we just call
orchard?
It the
is it maple orchard?
No, it's just the woods, man.
It's a grove.
Sugar
woods.
Sugar
woods.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you talk about, I challenge people to go back and listen to the episode. It's one of the top performing ones, but is you think that you're the only one that thinks that. Everybody around you is like, this dude's the shit. Like, you know, and that's when that's why I was going back to that negative self-talk, is because you know, like when you drop a penny in one of those circle things at the mall, and the closer it gets to the bottom, it gets real, centrifugal force starts happening. It gets, you know, the same thing happens, I think, in your brain chemistry. It's really easy to make that jump.
It took me a couple years to kind of get to the point where I was like, I've got a fucking problem. Because like what you were saying about driving into a telephone pole, that was daily. Yeah. Coming back from school. And this is 2018. I just got out of the Army. Like I'm 3 months into this, and I'm like, man, I could just, if I just swerve in front of that truck, it'll look like an accident, right? Like it's not that's almost a non-questionable, like, oh, it's an unfortunate incident. And then I'm scot-free. Right. And then fast forward, it was probably 4 or 5 years later was the night in the truck. And so that went on for a long fucking time, of just like the whole time too. And it's just like, man. And it just kind of got to like, well, it's either time to shit or get off the pot. Like,
yeah. It is. Damn. It's interesting to me that like we all have similar experiences. And I think a lot of folks that listen to this program all have similar experience. I don't want to say it's ubiquitous, but it affects a lot of people. And you know, there's, you know, this thing called operator syndrome. You guys heard of operator syndrome?
I read the book.
Yeah. By Dr. Froish or whatever his name is.
Chris something.
Chris, it's like Froish, Fruech.
Yep, C93.
Yeah, I didn't know that it's not a like medical, whatever that big book of medical DMT3 or whatever it's called. I don't know if that's what it's called.
TMT.
Yeah.
It's something like
Whoa, calm down, Thad.
whatever. Now I'm gonna look it up. Whatever that's
Want to
called.
go back?
I'm going back.
What's so?
That's what the sleep doctor brought up to me, because he was like, "Hey, man, because I went in to get like a TBI test at the VA, and I was just like, I can't fucking explain what my problems are. It just seems to be all this dumb shit, right?" And so he's like, "Man, because I feel like I'm cognitively impaired at this point, right? Like I can't, everything's slow. Like my thoughts are stupid, my words are bad. I'm, whatever. I can't sleep. I can't do this. This is fucked up." And so I was like, well, let me just rule this out. Like, maybe it is. I bumped my head a few times. I've been knocked pretty stupid. And he's like, man, I don't think. He's like, you passed your cognitive shit fucking really well. You're strong in these areas. You're strong as an ox, whatever. He's like, but I think and he, thank God, is still in the Army. And he did a bunch of work with 10th group guys. And so he kind of gets the culture and everything in the background. So he can sit there and be like, okay, well, I've worked with a bunch of people like yourself, right? Like I've seen all these things. He's like, he's like, I can't clinically diagnose it because the VA doesn't recognize it. He's like, but I would look at operator syndrome as like as a place to start.
It's called DSM-5, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, my doctor, Dr. Gordon, which you can go on Joe Rogan, he's like 7 times. One of them, he kind of gets drunk on there. But
going back to name dropping.
Yeah. No big deal.
No big deal.
But anyways, he's real big in it too. And I guess there's like a controversy, or we were talking about last week. There's some controversy over if it's a real thing. And back to what you were saying, Tyler, is like that sleep guy said, "Oh, you passed your cognitive skills," but just because you can abstract meaning from something, like that's the problem with what I would say like modern mental health is everything is siloed, right? Like cognitive abilities live in one silo, anxiety and depression live in another silo. You name it lives over here. Like sleep is in this silo. The real thing is your brain is working all the time with all those things going. Like you're not segmented. You can't live your life in these silos. But that's how the medical community looks at it. And operator syndrome to me is just a medical manifestation of like a holistic look at saying, hey, it's your sum, years of chronic stress, combat deployments, the social aspect of being a warrior and in the military. And then, there's an existential.
Nailed it.
Yeah. You could be like in that Key and Peele where they have the black translator,
For Obama.
Yeah. Which
that's my main job.
Highly underrated TV show, by the way. And a lot of people think they rejected off of Dave Chappelle, and maybe a little bit, but Dave Chappelle's awesome. Still awesome.
Yeah.
Now there's like a whole YouTube or series about how Key and Peele ripped off Dave Chappelle, but I think they're all three classic. Jordan Peele is like a horror movie director.
Yeah, he does a bunch of horror movies.
Yeah. But that's the problem with the being right of boom, if that makes sense, right? Like they're looking at it in these stovepipe things, and you ask every guy getting out of the military, you check in with them 2 or 3 years later, 18 months later, hey man, what do you think's going on? I don't really know, but I'm angry, I'm this, I'm that. It's because all these systems work together, and if one is out of whack, right, it affects everything. It's like a hydraulic system, right? Like you push on this thing, it moves something over here. And that's the same thing with the chemicals that are going on in your brain and your hormones. And anyways, take that for what it's worth.
I think one of the most important points of that is just that, like, it's normal, to go through some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's called being an adult.
And like it's broken. Yeah, exactly. but it's also easy to like mask it and perform through it, Like I was
Yeah.
dealing with all this shit, got through flight school, got through assessment, still progressed, still did all that shit.
And everybody's giving you attaboys along the way.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then deep down, I'm like, fuck, man, life sucks.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
What I think makes this book really cool is you kind of read, just the flow of it makes sense. But what's really cool is Allie has a chapter in this book where she's kind of talking in first person about her perspective. And for the ladies out there that are listening, or significant others, is I would challenge you to get this book. And if your significant other, if you think there are these warning signs, is you read this book and then kind of back brief your person that you think is having issues, because I guarantee you they're having issues. So it's really cool to see her perspective. What was that like for you to read her perspective?
Luckily we'd already talked about it a little bit, so I kind of knew what was coming. But man, reading through it, I guess the biggest takeaway for me was and I realized this before I wrote the book, but just how much shit I was putting on her because because of everything I did, even just career in the military, but throw on top of that, mental health and just being an asshole and not having the capacity to frankly love her, throughout those years. I was just a roommate, and I think that's the biggest eye opener was when I was going through it, I blamed a lot of my shit on her instead of realizing everything she was going through. I got to the point where, and she did too, we'll both admit this, we resented each other, man. We were every negative or complaint that I would hear out of her mouth, I was in my mind, I was you're the fucking reason I'm not happy, because I'm hearing all these negative thoughts, you know what I mean? Yep. So that was the biggest, I think, perspective shift for me. It was just fuck, man, I put her through the ringer, and didn't realize it, and didn't even think twice about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm thankful.
I think everybody does some version of that.
Yeah,
I was
shit, dude.
Total dickhead to my wife for the majority of our marriage.
Yeah, man, because you're just kind of I'm sucking it up, you suck it up,
Yeah.
Let's get through it.
You signed on for this,
right.
Was gonna be, so
which clearly they did not.
Yeah,
exactly. But you lie to yourself and say you knew what you were getting into.
Right.
No, I didn't. Right. I didn't really know that it would be,
Yeah.
And she had a little bit of background, kind of like my wife. She was in the Army. Allie was a nurse in the Army, so she kind of. Although distinctly the medical community in the Army is completely different than the rest of the Army, but doesn't. And I think one of the things that
Allie, she was a signal.
I thought she was a nurse.
Yeah. No, she was a signal officer, which is arguably worse than a nurse.
Yeah, but they got
she got shit on for everything.
Yeah, that's true. It's almost like S1, man.
Yeah, dude, you just beat them up when anything's broken.
Why was I thinking she was an Army nurse?
She wanted to be an Army nurse, but she wasn't.
Oh,
I don't know. Maybe I told you that at one point.
Oh,
we found cracks in his memory, Tyler.
Yeah,
oh, thank God.
Yeah. So I think what's also interesting for if there's spouses listening to this is the spouses that were in the service feel overshadowed by their husbands or their spouses' significant contributions. And, you see it on Veterans Day, my kids would be like, "Happy Veterans Day, Dad." And then my wife's over there "Oh, I'm just," because they don't see that, she's not putting she did, her military time was done before they were even invented, so something to think about. But my favorite part of the book, and this is why I like this book so much and I recommend folks to read it, because I hate when I read a book that tells you all the things that's wrong with you, and then it's well, good luck figuring this shit out. And you would never go read a manual and then the instructions are well, now you know what's wrong. Good luck.
Like an IKEA manual.
Yeah. With that shitty, that little guy.
That creates divorces right there.
Oh my God. I hate IKEA.
They got good meatballs in their little chow hall. Like if you ever,
I'm so angry by the time we get there that I don't even want any fucking meatballs. And I
it's
stress
like
eat, so that
it's
says
a
a lot.
yomp going in that place.
Oh
Have
my
you ever?
God.
Nick? Did you ever go to the one in Seattle?
Sorry.
I don't
The,
think I
the
have.
IKEA in Seattle.
No, I
It's in an
haven't.
old Boeing hangar. That's how like
Damn.
where they made 747s. And
Yeah.
yeah, fun fact. But
You
what I
would
love
know
about
that
this
the IKEA building is an old Boeing hangar.
and
they churned out 700 aircraft a year at the specific one. And Bill was the guy who ran safety on the floor in Section D.
Well, I don't know that, but I will say what's really cool about that building is the structural part of the building is all wood. Like all the girders and trusses and stuff are like 16 2x6s stacked like
Jeez.
to like because it was built in like the 40s when like they would just use wood for everything. I look at shit like when I go in buildings like that, but the chapter the what now chapter of the book is so cool because it kind of gives you it almost reads kind of like a checklist, like not exactly, but it gives you actionable things that you can it's like a roadmap to get from here to there, if that makes sense. How did you come up with that? Because then you go into a long-term maintenance about it. Like, how did you, were these like lived experience, or did you get help from like other professionals, or what was the deal with that?
Yeah, they were all lived experience, because the most frustrating thing for me was when I was going through everything and I like literally just Googling, how to treat depression, right? And I would go down that freaking checklist, like meditate, eat better, work
Exercise,
out, self-help books, listen to music, like whatever. The list goes on. I went down that checklist when I was in the pit, and nothing helped at all. In fact, like everything that I tried just pissed me off more and made it worse, because I was an asshole to myself, and I was like, what the fuck's wrong with you? This is supposed to help, and it's not. Why the hell isn't it helping? So I wanted the end of the book to be what worked for me and more practical than the things that you can just Google. And a lot of it is things that I wouldn't have thought about in the moment, and I don't necessarily want to give them all away right now. But the biggest one I'll give away is the acceptance, right? Just accepting the fact that you're not okay, as like little and small as that sounds, dude. That was such a big step that I had to take once I was like, shit, okay, it's anxiety and depression, and I actually was like, all right, that's my reality right now. That was a pivotal point for me, was once I actually accepted it. So yeah, that was a big one. There's more in there, but that was one of the things that you're not going to find on Google,
Yeah. These, when I read it, I was like, oh yeah, these are similar steps that I had. I wouldn't write it as eloquently as it's written here, but they're really
took 2 years. So
yeah.
Thanks.
ChatGPT wrote it.
Yeah, right.
But
I didn't touch it. I didn't touch ChatGPT. I was scared to.
Isn't it interesting? Like people like in academic circles or professional things, like ChatGPT wrote this article. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. It's still a good article. Like it reads really well.
Same
like,
information.
It's like when Mark McGuire and Barry Bonds were like in trouble for like doing steroids. And I was like, look, I want to see Barry Bonds hit a ball like into, outer space. Like that's what I paid for, but
yeah, bro. So many people watch baseball during those years.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it was arguably the best years for baseball.
Yeah.
We're recording this as the World Series is going and nobody gives a shit.
No. Didn't even know that.
Yeah. It's game don't care.
It's game 5.
World Series.
I've been following it. The only reason I've been following it is because the Mariners almost made it.
Yeah.
So I was all into it.
They got beat by the Blue Jays, beat them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking.
Fucking Canadians.
God damn it. I know.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. I think America's pastime is now football.
or Instagram.
Oh, for sure.
or Instagram.
Well, yeah, probably Instagram.
Definitely
That's probably
Instagram.
better.
Yeah, TikTok maybe.
TikTok and
Yep.
Instagram. Yeah. So I really love that part of the book. You know, if anything, there's so much to the book that we didn't really talk about because I don't want to give away. There's a lot of good chapters that will really resonate with you, especially if you were in the special operations community. But I really feel like worst case scenario, like if you don't want to read anything, like it's probably like not what I should say, but like go to the back of the book, read that part, get better, and then go back and read the whole book. If you can't sit for 5 minutes, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It would be good. So,
yeah. And I added at the very end, I added so my brother read it and he gave me some feedback, which was really good. And at the very end, I added like a call to action for like commanders and stuff like that. You know, like what the hell, what's the whole point of this? You know, like what's the entire point and what do we need to do about it? Because writing a book is cool, but if there's no like takeaway or like, what do we do now type of thing, like what's the point? You know?
Yeah.
Right. Instead of presenting all the problems like, hey, here's a potential solution. Right. And that's what we all like is don't come to me with just a bunch of problems. I've got enough. Like if you've got an idea on what to fix or like, hey, this is the problem and this is the solution I'm working on. I'm like, all right, cool. Move out and do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's a rando question. So you were on ODA 1112. So that's First Special Forces Group, 1st Battalion, Alpha Company. What's DOL? Can you say is this
you
like
don't know what
not?
DOL is?
No, what's DOL?
That's number 2.
Deo Presley Bear.
Oh, yeah, duh. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's like NSDQ.
Yeah, okay. No, that makes sense. Oppresso. Yeah, that makes sense.
Bear. Free the oppressed, man. That's that's the irony, right?
Yeah.
I was
that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, you should work something you should do a YouTube on that. Like a whole series on
Bear.
Yeah, but like from a perspective of this, from the stigma, like, you know,
that's a good,
like you're
that's
freeing
a good
yourself kind of thing.
I like that.
That's a gold line.
You got to be careful. It's free on YouTube and everything. I got like banned on TikTok or warned or whatever it is for saying suicide on TikTok. So
yeah, you can't say that.
You got to be really careful on.
Why? Like, I don't like. People are like,
Dude,
"Hey, he pew-pewed somebody." What the fuck? Just say gun. Like, are we?
They can't because it's an algorithm or it's not people monitoring these things. It's the algorithm, the AI goes through and it's like, oh, he said suicide, so we need to get rid of it.
It's like retard. You can't say retard anymore. And
yeah, there's tons of things actually. My guy sent me my guy sent me a list, dude. There's like 100, I don't know, whatever. There's a long list of things that you're not supposed to say.
Oh, you're your YouTube guy?
Yeah. And I was like, how does like Sean Ryan get away with it? He's like, dude, you're not in the same league as Sean Ryan. I'm like, touche. Yeah. That's fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
YouTube would pay Sean Ryan.
It's interesting you say that because this morning I was reading this passage in the Bible, right? Which is crazy.
Good for you.
Reading the Bible, but not crazy, but something that I haven't done in a long time. But anyways, there's a chapter in the Bible, and I challenge everybody to go read this. It's Judges 19 through 30, and it's a story about this guy in Israel. This is like kind of in between kingdoms where there's no like king of Israel. And it's the most crazy, debaucherous, like horror movie story. Like I grew up in the church and I'd never read this before. And do you know that story I'm talking about?
What is it? Judges what?
19 through 30, maybe?
I don't know if I do. I want to check it out though.
I'll give you guys the cliff notes because it is like insane. So basically this guy is he's married to a lady, right? And in the story they call her a concubine, but if you look in context, like in in the ancient world, that might mean like, it could mean like sex slave, but it also could mean like she didn't, the groom didn't pay like the dowry or whatever, or didn't pay the bride price or whatever they call it. So she's like a lesser wife, basically.
Gotcha.
And she ends up, the version of the Bible I have says she basically cheated on him, right? And so she leaves him and goes to live with her father, and she stays there for 4 months. And finally, the husband's like, "Hey, I gotta go get my wife." And so he gets on his donkey and rides to the father-in-law's house and like sweet talks her. And the dad is like super nice and cordial and like, lavishes this guy with gifts and everything. And finally, the guy and his wife and his servant leave, and they're going back to their house. And, and they got to pass through some like, dangerous country or whatever. And they go by one city, and the servant's like, "Hey, it's getting dark. Why don't we just go lodge in this city, and we'll be, we can rest up and be ready for tomorrow." And the guy's like, "No, I don't want to stay with foreigners, blah, blah, blah." And so they keep going to this other town, and I can't remember the name of the town's like Gibah or something. I don't know, I'm saying it wrong. But here's where the story gets crazy is they go and they can't find a place to stay, right? Like back in the day, you didn't actually like, there wasn't really hotels. People would just bring you into their house, and like part of the culture, they wash your feet and feed you, and nobody would take them in. And so they're like sitting in this city center or whatever. And some old man comes in, and he happened to be from the area that they live in. And this old man takes him into the house. So here's where it gets crazy is when they're in the house, all the townspeople come to the house and start banging on the door, and they want to basically do butt stuff with the guy, the guy that has the wife, which is very similar to the story of Lot and, like Sodom and Gomorrah, like really similar. Well, so the guy that owns the house is like, "I'm not going to give you this man. He's a righteous man," or whatever. He's like, "Take my virgin daughter or this guy's wife." Right. And the guy ends up saying, "Yeah, take my wife." And so they throw the wife out the door. She gets gang raped all night. And it's very explicit in the Bible. Whoa. It says like all night long. And then they let her go before the sun comes up, and she walks back to the house and collapses on the threshold. But this is where it gets even crazier, right? So then the guy comes out, and he's like, "All right, let's go." And she doesn't answer him. So he like, I think she's dead. The way I read it, she's dead. And he picks her up, he puts her on the mule and drives back to his house. When he gets home, he takes her body and chops her up into 12 pieces and sends the 12 pieces to each tribe of it, the 12 tribes of Israel. And crazy story, right? Whoa. Like this is in the Bible.
It's in the Bible?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's Old Testament. So it's pretty biblical, man. But, but it's like a crazy, like Walking Dead kind of thing. And the whole point of the story is the author is trying to tell people this is what happens when society collapses and you don't have kind of morals and values. And so anyways, it was really difficult to like get through. So I put it in ChatGPT to like, "Hey, am I reading this right? Like summarize this for me." And it starts talking about it, and then it stops and goes, "This is past our content laws. You cannot access this." And I was like,
"Whoa,
it's a historical document. Like, why can't you synthesize that for me and explain?" I had a good idea what it was, but that's a long-winded story to say like the algorithm is real. And I think if we're still here in like 20 to 30 years, like we're going to be bowing to the supreme intelligence that we made, like in what was that Marvel movie, Captain Marvel?
Which one?
Where that planet, like their supreme intelligence is just AI, that they just forgot that it was AI, and it like runs their life, makes all the decisions and stuff, which basically ChatGPT does for everybody now.
Oh yeah, for sure. People are definitely getting dumber because of it.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. Have you seen that Joe Rogan, Roman something?
Oh, Yablonsky or whatever his name is? Yeah.
Bro,
That's scary,
crazy.
man.
That's scary shit. Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
I haven't.
If you want hope for the future.
Yeah, he does one with the guy from Diary of a CEO, the British guy.
Oh, he does. The same Roman guy?
Yeah, that one's even scarier than Joe Rogan.
I like that podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one's super scary. So,
man.
Yeah, we got to do an episode about crazy, scary stuff, and
let's do one about crazy, theories. Uplifting stuff.
Yeah, that's probably better.
Yeah. What, Tyler?
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm at a loss. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I don't fucking know.
I've been going down a rabbit hole. Hoping
maybe you guys had
multiverses and many worlds theory.
You gotta check out that book about the private eye.
Yeah, what's it? Oh, the guy that bugged Marilyn Monroe's thing.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
Let's see if I can find it. Have you checked out Dr. Feelgood? I feel like these books need to be done in tandem.
You're asking Nick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to read Dr. Feelgood, not the Motley Crue version.
No, it's about a drug dealer, essentially, aka a doctor who.
He's the modern founder of meth, basically.
He escaped Germany or something, early 40s or late 30s or something, came to the U.S. and he was like a doctor or a chemist, whatever. And he came up with this shot for people who weren't feeling very good. And it was like made with like human placenta.
Yeah. It had all kinds of stuff.
Vitamin B12, vitamin C, steroids, meth.
Yeah. Meth was like the main ingredient.
Yeah. And so he would inject somebody and obviously like, man, I feel pretty fucking good right now.
Yeah.
So they kept coming back. Anyway, he gets into like presidents and actresses and all sorts of like, he's kind of like the Forrest Gump of the medical world. So he just kind of finds himself in the middle of all this shit. Anyway, good book. And then the other
book. Did he write it?
No.
Is it his? Okay. Somebody else wrote it.
He gets, I don't want to give the story away, but this is not a made up story. Like the dude was really raided by the FBI and like all his stuff seized and like it's in the library of, it's like all public record. Like this all actually happened. And the crazy part is to me, it's the most plausible explanation of why JFK was assassinated because Dr. Feelgood was his personal doctor and JFK like was essentially the story. The cliff notes are JFK was a little promiscuous and liked to.
By a little, we mean a lot.
Yeah. And so the Russians figured it out. Right. And JFK would be high on these meth concoctions and out hoeing around with these chicks who were really Russian agents, like honeypot agents. And so
it's a crazy story.
We're faced with two things, right? Either we tell the world that our president has a drug addiction, or the CIA takes him out and we make a martyr out of him and everybody wins. And now because he was like telling state secrets to these chicks he's banging. And so like if you read the book, it is way more convincing than I'm making it out to be. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah. That's probably how it happened.
Damn, dude. You know, I'm gonna have to read it. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a really good book, and there's an audio version of it too.
Yep, that's what I listened to that. Katie and I listened to that on a long drive. And then this other book is called The Fixer by Josh Young, and it's about the private eye. Who kind of finds himself mixed up in with the Kennedys. And of course, Marilyn, and he knows Marilyn. It's this whole fucking thing, and so you're like, and this kind of adds to that a little bit, and you're like, man, this shit is crazy.
Yeah,
that's wild. Man.
And he went over to Marilyn's house before the cops did.
Yeah,
and so it's like,
yeah, it's like those conspiracies with Princess Diana and all that stuff. Like, I love a good conspiracy theory, but that's for another episode.
I don't even think I've heard those. You have to.
Oh, dude, the Princess Diana and Dodi Fayed, or
we'll have to have like a book club.
King Charles had him murdered.
We'll discuss it.
Yeah.
We didn't go to the moon. I actually think we did. My wife swears we she really believes we did not go to the moon. Although you went to Kennedy Space Center, Tyler, right? I mean, like,
Yeah.
come on, man.
I don't think going to the moon is as impossible as and insane as everybody thinks it is. I think we were stupid enough back then to make it happen.
Yeah. Either we got
I don't think
incredibly
that's
lucky
What's that?
or it didn't happen. Did you read that little placard where it shows like the lunar lander, right? And they went like 8 miles off course and they only had enough fuel for like one rocket fire.
Well, I think with all the things that went wrong and all, because you can't, when shit goes actually crazy, you can't make that shit up. You know what I mean? When somebody makes up a story about, oh, well, you know, hey, my dog ate my homework. Like, yeah, no, the fuck it didn't. Right. But when things like, when there's, like, I've been in situations where one thing goes wrong after another, and we make it out and we're alive. And I'm like, dude, there's no fucking way I should be alive right now.
Yeah.
And you can't make that shit up.
Right. Yeah. You tell somebody, they're like, there's no, like, you're a fucking liar.
Well, and I guess what got me is the moon is rotating at like 2,300 miles an hour or something, like, and these dudes got a whiz wheel, like a slide rule, a E6B, and plotted the exact moment that they could fire and like dock with the orbiting thing.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah.
We can't even now, like, in the most sophisticated helicopter in the world, I couldn't get that accurate with all the GPS and all the, you know.
It's because you're not a fixed wing guy.
Yeah, that's probably true. It's actually really accurate. James Haas would agree with that sentiment if he's listening. Well, hey Nick, what are you doing now, man? Let's turn people on to what you're doing now. What's I know we got let's pitch some of the YouTubes and stuff.
Yeah, so still running the financial planning practice. Cadence Wealth Partners, still running strong with that.
There will be an ad somewhere in this podcast for Cadence Wealth Partners.
You probably heard the ad. That's me. Sorry guys for annoying you with the ad. But no, for real on that. I love it. It's fun. I still enjoy it. Still get fulfillment out of it. And on the other piece, obviously I just published a book. So my whole goal right now is spreading the word, man, getting it out there. Whether that's through my YouTube channel or Instagram, social media, or podcast, you know, that's my mission right now. It's getting the book out there into as many hands as possible. Cause I say this as humbly as possible, but I really believe that it's needed and it can create massive cultural change if it gets in the right hands.
Yeah. And I would agree with that. This book is chock full of kind of practical things you can use. And if you don't know where to turn, in the back of the book, there's all these resources. You can just go on that website and kind of start from there. What's your YouTube? The Nick O'Kelly?
Yeah, the Nick O'Kelly. Yep.
Yeah.
My website, thenickokelly.com, has links to everything. That's the easiest place to find everything.
Yeah, well, I'll put it in the show notes. Are you doing any like speaking, like those public speaking things?
Not yet.
Are you interested in that?
Yeah, I could see myself doing that. I think this topic like has a lot of potential to go that way for sure. I am partnering with a couple organizations who do like mindset stuff and things like that. And I'm, I guess you'd call it an advocate for them, whatever you want to call it, ambassador, advocate. So yeah, doing some of that too.
Do you want to say who they are? Or is it too early? Or
no, I think I can say.
Yeah.
It's called whatever. It's called IS Nation. It's an app built for athletes, built for student athletes specifically, like high school, college level athletes, around really mindset, man, and all the pressures that they deal with. You know, it's a different level, but they still go through the same thing, you know? So yeah.
Okay.
It's still like, it's like brand new, but they have a website and it's cool. Really cool, vision that they have.
Yeah, I'm super interested in the coaching world, like performance coaching, and I kind of do a little bit of that in my day job. But we had a guy on, Derek Keller, who's like a
I listened to that one. Yep,
full-time coach, and it's kind of an interesting world, man, that I'm kind of exploring right now. But well, cool, man.
There's a lot of value to it.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I kind of struggle with that quiet professional part of that specifically, but
yeah, it's hard.
I think I would be okay at that.
I think you would too, because I've worked with a couple business coaches, and I've had some really bad experiences, but I've also had some good ones, you know, and the good ones were from people that aren't just like following some stupid arbitrary manual and giving you these cookie cutter steps. The good ones were the ones that like dig deeper, you know, and are like, what's the why behind what you're doing? Not just like,
and oh, you got to track that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, you just got to track these numbers and these KPIs. And that's like the cookie cutter shit that like, it might work for some people, but that's not how I'm wired, man. I gotta have the why and the reason and the purpose and all that.
I'm the same way. I've always wanted to know why. Like when the why is clear, the how is easy, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, awesome. It's great seeing you. Did we miss anything? Anything you want to talk about? Bigfoot?
Bigfoot, where is he? No, man, I think we're good. Dude, I'm grinding now. The getting this book out. Got a couple big podcasts launching soon and going on a couple more. So just trying to
you did
running.
Let's see, you've done lesser known operators, right?
Yep.
You did
Urban Valor.
Been like a lot.
I've been on a lot. Urban Valor is a really fucking cool one that just came out. It is
not as cool as this one, but it's cool.
Yeah, what's been your favorite one?
Definitely not as cool as this one. This one's by far my favorite because it's the boys, you know. Don't tell Doug that.
Yeah.
Doug's probably listening. He's
Doug,
like, fuck you.
Doug, Tyler and I were Doug's first podcast, first episode.
That's right.
So
we got to get him back.
Yeah, we need to get Doug.
We've been saying that for
should have Doug back
a year now.
We should do one. Let's do one with Doug, and then we should do one with Doug, and we should do like the Super Friends episode. Like Doug, you know how Joe Rogan does the
whatever real parks high and like save the parks or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. Protect our parks. That's it. Which at first I hated those. But when Shane Gillis is in those,
dude,
it is awesome. Hilarious. Yeah, hilarious. And I used to hate him. Now I'm like, he's one of my favorite. Have you seen Tires? Funny. Did we talk about Tires, the TV show?
Tires
I've watched like 2 episodes.
Don't judge the episode on season 1.
Okay,
just
maybe that's
get
why
through season 1, and season 2 is like 100% better. It's usually season 2 sucks. Tires season 2 makes the whole show.
Yeah. That's good to know.
Yeah, it's a really
I think
good
me and
show.
Allie watched 1 and 2, and we were like, I like Shane Gillis, but this is stupid. You know,
it gets way better towards the end of season 1.
It's not stupid.
Yeah.
Right. But it gets better.
It gets definitely. Okay. There's a lot more of that guy. What's the guy you like, Tyler? The fat guy.
Stavi.
Yeah.
Stavros Halkias.
Yeah, he's in season 2 a lot more than he is in season 1. And I didn't realize that all the people on that show are all stand-up comedians.
Yep.
Like they're just all his friends. Yeah. Like the girl that works at the tire shop, the blonde girl, she's a stand-up comic, and you know the manager is that Stavros guy, and then the girlfriend or the wife of Stavros is you've seen her. She's a comedian. She's really fun. I guess if you're a female, it's a comedian. Is that a thing?
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to forget comedian. That you said that.
Yeah, comedian, and then a comedian is for a dude. I think.
Is that a real thing? I've never heard that.
I don't know. I don't know. Let's see what ChatGPT says. I'm pretty sure it's a thing.
Wait, let's see what ChatGPT says.
ChatGPT see what my God says.
I'm outsourcing my brain.
Since I've
see what my old buddy over here says. Yeah. Well, Fab, what an insightful thought.
We should. I wonder if there's a way to do an episode with ChatGPT.
Yeah, you can make it talk.
Oh, dude, you can talk to it.
But I mean,
sure.
like we can talk to it and it'll talk back to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You don't have that? You do not have the paid version?
Oh, I do. I'm not.
Oh yeah, bro. It's like,
dude,
it's
it'll
like
have full on
almost
conversations
eerie.
with you.
Yeah, it's like creepy. Like
we should do a full episode with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious. You could learn so much in an hour and a half or 2 hours.
Oh my God.
Dude, we
Mind
should
blown.
totally do that.
You totally should.
Let's try it.
Yeah. Yeah. In the past, the word comedian, which
Oh,
is
God.
COMEDIENNE, was used to refer to a female comedian.
Go ahead and ask it
way.
if Bigfoot is real.
As
we draw this episode out.
That's a good question. No, everybody's curious. Everybody wants to know.
Ask ChatGPT if it's seen Bigfoot.
Yep, it says it's definitely real, flies around in a spaceship, 100% trust the science.
There it is.
Yeah.
You
All right.
have it. He's
We
out
solved
there.
it. Who
Oh,
killed
man.
JFK?
Jeez.
Yeah. Oh,
Bigfoot
dude,
killed
that would be a
JFK.
really good episode, actually.
The Bigfoot.
You could make a whole podcast on that.
Bigfoot's a trans-dimensional being, man. That's why, like, when you go to
Okay.
like capture Bigfoot, he fades into another dimension, dude.
Dude,
It's
so when I was
facts.
working at the gun shop, I got two quick stories about working at the gun shop in Colorado. The first one is some dude comes in, and I like to shoot guns, obviously, right? Like that's just something I like to do, whatever. But I'm not like a gun nut, and I don't like go ape shit on barrel twists and fucking
Yeah,
all
me
this other
neither.
stuff. Like I just don't care. Never care. Hey, what was your M4 when you were in the army? Was it barrel twist? Like don't know.
It was black.
Yeah.
It was black. I don't know. It shot.
What
Yeah.
what
Was it
model
A4?
NVGs did you have? It's like whatever was in the green bag.
Yeah.
Like, don't care. It's whatever I
Yep.
had. And anyway, so this dude's like, hey, I need to get a charging handle. And I was like, all right, cool. Let's go over to the wall. I was like, so here's all your charging handles. Like, look, even some of them have pictures on them so you can show everybody how cool you are. And he's like, oh, yeah. I was like, oh, you got this? Or you got a Spartan helmet? You know, Spartans? He's like, Spartans? I was like, yeah, you know, the nation of warrior men. And he was like, you mean a nation of men who slept with other men? And I looked at him and I was like, as men should. And the dude was just kind of so taken aback by that. He walked out. He didn't buy anything.
No shit.
And I was like, perfect. I didn't want to sell you shit anyway. Get the fuck out of here. But this other guy comes in and he's asking me questions about rifles on the wall. I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure you can get Bigfoot with this one. And he's like, as a matter of fact, dude launches into how he and his buddies look for Bigfoot. And they go out to these places and there's these big like parties and people are like, no, this is the last known sighting of Bigfoot. So they'll go there and they'll try to find him in the woods. And he's like, we heard him one night. He was banging on the trees. I was like, you don't tell, out of the 150 people who are there, you're telling me one person isn't an asshole and ran off into the woods and is like making noise and dragging shit all over the place. This dude talked to me for an hour about how he hunts for Bigfoot.
Jeez, bro.
I was like, I'm
First
sorry
of
I
all,
brought that up.
if you've ever slept in the woods, you know you hear shit anyways.
Yeah,
you know,
nonstop.
like,
Yep.
and you're like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah,
Like,
Bigfoot, obviously.
dude, get out of here.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
In the Carolinas, we call it skunk ape. It's
Really? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. You live in Charlotte, man. Go
Yeah, I
find some
gotta-
good old boys and ask them about skunk ape. They'll tell you all
Gotta
about it.
adopt that now.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
That's funny.
true story.
Skunk ape.
All right, man. Well, Nick, thanks for hanging out with us. So I think we're like 2.6 in there for recorded time, although
That's
Yeah.
just
How
over
many
2.5
flight
hours.
hours? Yeah, how many flight hours do you have now?
2.6 and
That
tenths
on
of an
Hobbs.
hour.
What's the Hobbs
What's your-
meter reading?
Yeah.
What's your total flight hours?
Yeah.
Podcast hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Add it to the logbook.
I'm a
Oh,
master. That doesn't even make sense.
Just put me as the PC of this one,
Yeah.
please.
I'll log it.
Don't even log me on this flight.
Yeah. But hey, man, thanks for hanging out. And if you guys
sure.
would do Nick a favor, go over to his YouTube, like and subscribe. And while you're at it, go check out our YouTube. Nick's at the Nick O'Kelly. We're at Alone and Unafraid podcast on YouTube. This episode will be up with video. There'll be an audio and a video. So if you're at the office or something and you want to listen, you can just listen on YouTube at work and nobody will know. You just put your headphones in and act like you're doing stuff, but really you're just listening to us. Check it out. check out Cadence Wealth Partners. If you need to get some money managed, Nick is the guy for that. He does my stuff and a lot of people. He's doing your stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm way richer than I used to be.
Yeah. So
unbelievably
go
richer.
make us some
Sky's
money.
the limit, bro.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. Thanks for hanging out with us. We will see you guys
sure.
next time. Bye.
Bye.
Later.